not here today.
All right. We are live. And everyone is here in studio, including the real Ray, not the virtual Ray, but the real Ray.
I'm almost afraid to know what happened in this studio last week.
You should be afraid. You should be very afraid.
We
Almost
spent
afraid.
over 2 hours just talking about you.
That's true.
Hey,
That's great. At least somebody is.
no cardboard Ray today.
No cardboard Ray today. So Ian got to meet Byron and Ray's biggest fan, which was a lot of fun.
She's my biggest fan too.
Oh, apparently Ian.
And yours. She said she was your fan too. So she's fans of all of us.
Yeah, no, but she did say she liked Byron and Ray first, so that's what it is. I did introduce.
God, you're still bitter about that,
I
man.
did
Oh, right.
introduce Ian as Byron, so and she didn't believe it. So it's
No, she wasn't buying that for a minute. especially when I spoke to her.
yeah, no, for sure. For sure. No, Ray was doing some traveling last week. I know he's doing some upcoming traveling this week, apparently, of all the things, and
Unfortunately, yes.
Traveling man.
doing his covert operation in the world of IMAX and all
his
of
phone,
the
his
things.
phone doesn't work.
No, his phone doesn't. Well, he typically if Ray is on the job, usually he sleeps during the day because he's working all night.
This is true.
Yeah,
This is true.
I like to say it was a Valentine's Day weekend, and
Well, that's what we said at the time, and he didn't come on to deny it. So
yes,
No, the real reason we just say his wife wouldn't let him come outside and play.
oh, there's
I mean,
that too.
there's that. But no, it was good. We just traveled over to good OSA for a little bit of family time.
Recreation and R&R. So as we go into I think we're going to close out the home theater thing. I mean, a little bit, but we're going to kind of dip into some other stuff. We've got Ramageddon going on with disk drives and GPU and RAM chips shortages and all kinds of stuff.
lock up your daughters, your disk drives, and your memory.
Yeah, no kidding. Western Digital has said they are sold out for the rest of the year of hard drives. Yeah, process that information.
Yeah, please explain. I didn't really look at the articles, but I'm just kind of curious.
I didn't do my homework.
I did not.
I'm just so
I
important.
feel like it's high school again. I did
I
not do
just-
homework.
I'm so important. I don't need to read things. No. So what it is apparently a lot of these AI data centers and cloud storage places that they're building are taking away a lot of the resources and things that are consumer related, and so it's causing a strain on inventory. So a lot of these data centers and the factories or the companies that own these data centers have pre-purchased hard drives in advance, and Western Digital is literally sold out of functional units for the rest of the year and now going into 2027. So a year and a quarter now. I don't know about Seagate or any of the other hard drive companies. No, none of them have come forward as of yet. I do know in the last 2 weeks, hard drive prices have gone up 60%, and in comparison to what they were just a few weeks ago. So we're already seeing those prices increase. This has nothing to do with tariff. This is supply and demand. And a lot of these AI data centers and then cloud storage centers they need bigger facilities. They need more hard drives. They need. I think Byron touched on this, I think 2 shows ago, if I remember correctly, where he had said if people realized the amount of resources these data centers are using up, that they're not green at all. They use a massive amount of water to cool the equipment that's running these hard drives and processors and things, so everybody can store their data in the cloud. and they create a lot of pollution and a lot of strain on the grid, the electrical grid where these places are at. So a lot of places that have rural freeways, like 99, that giant stretch of 99 is starting to where they're going to start building a lot of these data centers, things like that in rural part of towns where they have a lot of land, not a lot of housing communities and things like that around it. A lot of those are being utilized for that. But Western Digital is the world's largest hard drive company. And then when they say they're out of hard drives, that's not a good thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, just looking on Amazon, they're getting a bit few and far between. Prices don't appear to be that much higher, but compared to when I looked last week, but it's getting to the point where it says no featured offers, 9 used and new offers. So it's like they're basically selling used ones through Amazon now.
Yeah, no, everybody. I think they're out of new, and then even the new ones. I want to say even a 6 terabyte or 7 terabyte drive went from something that used to be like $100, $150. Now they're like almost just $20 shy of $500. So, and that's just in the past few weeks.
And you have to be careful what you're buying, because Western Digital and Seagate, they make different types of hard drives using different types of recording process, which unless you dig into it by model number, you don't know what you're getting, and some are better than others. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a case of grab what you can get if you need a hard disk.
Well, and most of these things are using it, like security camera, NVRs use them, computers, laptops, phones, streaming devices, everything uses things out of Western Digital. Kaleidoscape uses Western Digital hard drives, and I know they're kind of going through some model changes and things like that on the record, off the record, and just basically pivoting on different storage sizes and whatnot because of the same very issue. I know NVIDIA released that they couldn't finish doing their graphics cards and whatnot because they're running out of CPUs. Meaning because the CPUs are being used for artificial intelligence and rolling right into a lot of those other things. And
it's finna turn huge, because if you got companies who does what they call hardware refreshes, life cycles every 3-4 years, and it happens this year, so you trying to recycle all your server hardware across the whole organization.
you're hosed, right?
Pretty much. But I think the saving grace is because most corporations lease their hardware instead of actually own it.
Yeah.
And so then, they're going to be all right, because the company they lease it from got to honor the lease agreement, no care what the price is. But what it's going to do is going to in turn drive people to the cloud. Because like right now,
Do you think that's the general plan?
it's possibly, because right now you could get what they call platform as a service. So I can get servers, actually it's virtual servers in the cloud, and they charge me a penny for every hour that server runs.
Right.
And so you get...
Oh, so it's RMR. So instead of selling somebody an 8 terabyte that they'll never see the reoccurring revenue from, then they're just going to charge you cloud storage for $10 a month or $5 a month.
Not just the storage, but they're going to charge you for the machine, because you can't, your server sets, say like right now, your server sets here in the shop. But if you go to platform as a service, all you got is a cable that goes to the cloud. I'm getting a whole virtual machine in the cloud that's, from a user standpoint, looks like a physical machine that's sitting right here in the shop.
Yeah. So technology is rearing its ugly head once again. It was kind of cart before the horse. They didn't have a plan before it was implemented, and now we have a problem, is what it sounds like.
I think you're right, though. I think underneath it all somewhere there's going to be an ulterior motive where all these
You don't need a disk anymore, blah blah blah.
But it's like save it to the cloud. Microsoft are already doing it. When you on Windows 11, they want you to sign up and use OneDrive. And Microsoft last week or in the last few days actually owned up to say that corporate emails and things, which were supposed to be private, due to a software bug, were being used to train AI. It's sensitive corporate
Well,
information.
90% of your corporations use Microsoft 365 for email.
Well, of course they do, and that's the
I like
problem.
it. And I like it because the company I work for is I can use email without actually VPNing into the company network. There's a lot of things as platform as a service and the other things that they offer as a service in the cloud that from an end user standpoint and an IT support standpoint, I like because everything requires me to VPN. When I go to VPN to our company network, I got 3 steps. And, then once I get in the server, I got 2 more steps. So all these layered security steps, to do simple, a 5 minutes task that take you 15 minutes to log in is aggravating at times.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if everything is in the cloud, how do you know whether it's being used, spied on, to train AI, or just to, I don't know, somebody trying to work out, what's your company's mission this year going to be? Like another company might be working out,
right? And it's true. So, because one of the biggest downfalls for the cloud before it became popular was who is going to justify it? Who's going to govern the security? We have nothing. We don't know nothing about the security. But when you sign your documents from a legality standpoint, you switching the liability from you to them. So you putting in them they're responsible for making your data available 24/7.
Yeah.
They're responsible for keeping your data safe and secure, and they're responsible for keeping your data available in case something crashes.
Okay, but Microsoft is a United States company. They obviously have servers all around the world, but at the end of the day, the sovereign ownership of the Microsoft thing is the United States, which is why companies like Denmark are abandoning the Windows platform and turning to something, because they want sovereign ownership of their data. They don't want their data to be hosted on another country's infrastructure.
Well, you're right. EU data laws is tremendous. I deal with them all the time. And you think EU data laws is bad? Try China. China monitors everything that comes in and everything that's come out.
Yep.
It took us a year and a half to put an intrusion protection system in China, just from the legality standpoint, from the government. When we went on to China to do a network vulnerability assessment, all our laptops had to be cleaned of all penetration testing tools and hacking tools, because if you brought it through customs, it's going to confiscate the laptop.
Gentlemen, what fails on a hard drive? I mean, I'm just looking at its standpoint.
Are we talking physical?
Well, no, physical. So
or
for
SSD?
Talking about SSD or spinning.
So for instance, I go to the automotive world because that's the world I understand. My mechanic hands.
Okay, so say the hard drive is a car.
An alternator. No, well, because I know there. But hang on.
No, it's a simple comparison. If you consider a hard disk is a car, and if the engine stops working, the car stops working.
Right. Well, I know that. I mean, I know what a hard drive physically is, but what I'm saying is what inside of that drive is what physically fails inside of the drive.
There could be several things, but in the instance of mine previously, I think it's just maybe the motor's died or something, because it won't even spin up. But it could be head crashes, it could be the chips on the outside that have got corrupted.
So in the automotive world, we can rebuild an alternator, we can rebuild an engine, we can rebuild a transmission and a gearbox.
You could probably rebuild my hard drive.
Well, that's what I was asking. Do you see that? Now that hard drive shortages are rearing its ugly head and becoming a problem, do you see those type of kits coming out?
No.
To be able to rebuild a hard drive?
No, because rebuilding a hard drive is a clean room operation. You get one speck of dust in there and you're screwed.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is it worth repairing it even, or, most of the time it's about data recovery. They don't worry too much about actually recovering and reusing the hard drive. It's about recovering the data that's on it. and that can cost you thousands of dollars, even if it's just a normal home PC 4 terabyte drive that somebody's pictures are on that they can't access and they need them, and they'll pay 3,000-4,000. It's almost like ransomware, but it's like they'll pay to have their pictures and their documents restored because they didn't have a backup. And
so you don't see any type of serviceable thing for a high tech redneck like yourself to service your own hard drive.
If I could kind of build a semi clean room with vacuum things to keep a cabinet clear, that with filters that I could actually work inside to remove. Once you remove the cover, like you see the labels on the outside, it will say void if cover removed or if screws removed. And if you remove that cover, you're exposing the discs and the heads. And I mean, I've taken a lot of them apart in the past just because they were completely dead. And you can see big silver. It looks like a silver platter, but it's a recording medium. And then there could be 6 or 10 actual platters in there with heads in between. So it's very, very critical
like
in
a
terms
watch
of tolerances.
or
Yeah, like a watch. But once you open that up, now in the old days it used to be you could actually just swap the circuit board on the outside, see if that fixed things. But now there's data on the circuit board which is tied to the data on the disk, and if you swap it, it won't necessarily fix it. But if you send it off to one of these companies that fix or try to do data recovery, they'll do stuff like that. But it will cost you more than even if a hard disk was
3 times the amount.
yeah, I mean, even
Just
if
an
hard disk was $3,000-4,000 now, it wouldn't be worth paying to have that disk repaired because you know it's failed once already, and it's now open to the elements.
You're giving Ian ideas. I can see it right now. And tomorrow morning, you could be placing an order for all this clean room equipment. He gonna want a spot in the back.
No,
with,
I mean
with what is it called? HPA filters and
Yeah.
and there's all these $20,000 in AC units just so Ian could rebuild that.
Well, I couldn't.
That $10
No,
drive.
no. You that's where you got that twisted. Ewan would figure out how to build an AC unit for $500 instead of thousands.
Yeah, but then I'd probably end up with Legionnaire's disease. So
something like that. Well,
but I couldn't build one at home because, you know, with a house full of cats, you're never going to have a clean room, even if you have the best HEPA filters out there.
So, but my thing is, well, I mean, it was just a valid question. It's like, okay, if we have shortage here, but we have a lot of technical brain people that like to do it yourself and repair things, is it something that an end user could eventually adopt a way to repair such drive?
Yes.
I know there are things like Black Magic that it's a docking station for bum hard drives to try to extract what's left of that stuff, and it works. This stuff works.
It works if the thing spins.
But Apple tried that. You know, Apple tried to create home kits that where you can change your own battery in your iPhone for a small price. That you can replace your own cracked screen for a small price.
Well, that was tough because I mean I think Apple got sued, didn't they? Didn't they get sued, or didn't that company iFixit take them because they weren't allowing them to go in and do their own battery replacements or
That's a big
screen
thing here.
replacements,
The
stuff
right
like
to
that.
repair. It affects not just the IT industry,
Right.
but just about everything. There's a guy runs a podcast or whatever, a YouTube channel that's always talking about this stuff. Lewis Rossman, and
Oh yeah.
and he's always like, I haven't caught up with him lately, but he does a lot of right to repair stuff, and it's like it's got to the point where I don't think he even really does a lot of repairs like he used to on things like MacBooks, phones, whatever, because Apple have basically shut it right down. You can't repair something, and Samsung are the same way. If you get something repaired on a Samsung phone and then you have to take it into a Samsung dealer and they open it up and find that it's got third-party stuff in, apparently all the small print says they can actually take all that out and take the phone away and say you can't use it anymore, or shit like that. Excuse my French. Beep. Thank you. I
You
don't
got a
think-
delay on the delay.
Yeah. I can't reach the button, otherwise I'd press it.
Sorry, yeah, no, no, it's just a valid question.
That applies to everything across the board. Even the Navy are not allowed to repair electronic equipment.
Well, that's because of Army surplus or government surplus.
No, it's not surplus. I'm talking about up to the minute state of the art stuff that are on ships. That if they had the parts and they've got the capable people to do it, but they're not allowed to do it, and it's like, just because the way contracts are written, they've got to have this, and it's costing them an arm and a leg, so they end up with equipment that's not working because they can't afford to fix it.
Okay, so we've been through hard drive issues before. You know, we went through this in the 90s, we went through this in mid 2000s, but most of this was supply chain related. So most of it was trying to bring them into the country.
Or bad batches.
Right, bad batches. But I don't think we've ever been through this before, have we, Ian?
Not where, I mean, if you think about it, okay, Western Digital make a lot of hard disks. They make blue, red, purple. They make them in anything from 500 gigabytes up to 22 terabytes. Now, the data centers are going to want the big disks,
right?
22 terabytes.
Stacks, yeah.
And if you look at I mean, it's the same form factor, 3.5-inch disk. So Western Digital get somebody from these AI companies come along and say, we want this number of 22 terabyte hard disks. Then they're going to stop making all the smaller ones because they're going to put all their manufacturing capacity into making the big ones. And then they're selling them all to AI companies anyway. So, you know, the end user's got to rely on what's available out there in Goodwill stores or wherever.
So my crystal ball, it's actually a pretty simple scenario if you think about it. You've got data centers that are building for AI and cloud storage. You have a hard drive storage shortage.
Yeah.
I mean, one problem kind of fixes the other problem.
Now, I don't know if AI companies are using SSDs for storage as much as hard disks.
That's the thing that's getting blamed in the articles.
I don't know what the balance is, but if you look at it today, most laptops, MacBooks, Windows laptops, etc., basically come with a reasonable size, you know, 0.5 or 1 terabyte SSD. They're not using spinning drives, so it's not going to affect a lot of people, but it's going to make it more expensive because I think they probably do use SSDs, probably for caching and what have you.
But SSDs don't they have a different type of failure, though?
Yes, and they're limited to the number of write times, number of times you can write to them because of the way they're made. In fact, if you've got a computer with an SSD, you can download a small piece of software that will tell you the estimated life of that drive. And it's a bit like batteries on an iPhone. If you look at your battery health, it will say that it's down to 85% or something, which means that it doesn't actually hold 100% anymore. And SSDs are the same. They will get to a point where you can't write to them anymore. And that's, you will have to replace.
They progressively get slower.
I got the Samsung SSD drive Pros.
Samsung.
Yeah, Samsung. And it comes with a software called Samsung Magic.
Yeah, I got that somewhere.
Yeah, and it evaluates all the diagnostics on the disk and try to predetermine failures and everything. But to me, it's worth. Samsung makes 2 drives. They make the red and they make a regular. To me, it's worth the price to pay for the red.
Absolutely.
Because it's a 10-year warranty on top of it. So that brings me to another question. Now, when we're in the middle of this freaking hard drive shortage, what happened to warranty replacements? If you got a 10-year warranty on a drive and your drive fails, they're going to just tell you, oh, I ain't got no drive for you?
No, I don't know. So I know that the CPU situation is affecting one of our clients has an NZ9 JVC, which is a $35,000 piece of equipment, projector. And we pulled it down. They're supposed to do advanced replacement. Well, they changed the advanced replacement rules, in which shouldn't quite be allowed. But again, that all comes down to terms and conditions and what you agree to.
That's another thing. Again, another Rossman thing that he's banging on around or has been for a long time, is the way that companies change the terms and conditions
all the time.
in mid-flight. It's
All the
like
time.
it's like you get on a plane and you think you've got certain rights and what have you, but you get halfway over
Oh, by the way,
where you're flying. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, we don't supply oxygen masks anymore. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like,
well, no, I mean they're still taking care of them, but the CPU.
but that's what happened to Roku, which we were talking about earlier. They come up with a change to terms and conditions, and unless you accept them and click on accept, there is no way to say
Can't use it.
You can't.
Well,
use
that's
it.
everything. That's your TVs. That's
And everybody's doing it that way, which forces you to accept all their legal stuff like arbitration, and it's like they're changing the rules after if you make a purchase, which is where I consider you give money in exchange for something that you actually own, which seems to be less of a case these days. It's like, do you actually own your phone anymore? Do you actually own the Roku box or the Apple TV box or the...
Well, Ian, this started many, many years ago. And we just didn't, we heard about it. We didn't know it. Like in Hawaii. In Hawaii, you don't own the land. You just lease the land for 99 years. You could build a house on it, but you own the house, but you don't own the land. And so it's just carrying over now to technology. You ain't got no choice. If you want to install Windows and you don't agree to the term and conditions, guess what? You're not installing Windows.
Yep, and that's going to force more and more people away.
Well, it will in a sense, but you got to think about it. Just like Apple versus Androids. Apple's done made their platform so user-friendly till a 1.5-year-old can use an iPad. But has Android did that? You can't. Your audience change. So when you're going to force people like yourself, you can force away from Microsoft because you understand the Linux sides. You understand the other command line, I call it, type of error. But the average Joe don't understand that.
No, but it's getting easier for them too. We've discussed this in previous casts about...
Yeah, but it is. But then again,
and I'll
masses,
say the name again. It's if you want to install something that looks like Windows, download Zorin and install it on a PC. It will run faster than Windows and it will do everything Windows can do. And it has a built-in Microsoft Office equivalent. So you're not paying for any of that.
But we're talking about technical people.
Yeah.
Let's talk about 15, 16-year-old kids.
Well, they're more.
Oh, they know more.
they're
about
I was
technical
going to
than
say
we are.
they're probably more
now,
technical.
and you're right. You're right.
I mean,
I got to back up. I'm thinking 15, 16-year-old kids during my time.
Yeah.
I met your son the other day, and I think he's far more intelligent than you.
100%, I agree. But he ain't got no common sense. In other words, if I'm chasing him around the house, he gonna keep running around the house all instead of stop at some point and turn around and go the other direction. It's not gonna happen. We're gonna be just all around the house all day long. That's these new age kids. But I mean, it's a stereotype. It's the masses of the people we talk about. Now, the technical oriented people, they're going to get it grasped. They're looking for those types of things. Because I have this argument with my students in class all the time, Apple versus Androids. And I tell them, I said, the only reason y'all go to Androids is because y'all want free stuff. Y'all don't like the Apple governance, which they have a lot of people who don't
There's
like.
a cost for that.
Exactly. If I download
Security.
10 apps from the Apple Store, all 10 is going to work. If I download 10 apps from the Android Play Store, 8 of the 10 might work. Because the governance on the Apple Store versus the governance on the Android store is totally different, because Android it's open source software. That means anybody could grab the software, anybody can make applications to it to do what he wants to do. Where Apple, you got to jump through major hoops and everything else. And so,
well, the other thing is you've got the different manufacturers like Samsung and Google, the main ones, but you've got lots of other.
Well, you may
companies.
have two Android Galaxies, one that was manufactured in Korea, one that was manufactured in Japan,
Yeah, but
and then
Samsung
one that was
have their own version of Android. Google have their own
But
version.
that's
of
what I was
Android.
just saying. You may have your own. You may have a Samsung Android phone. All three look like the same phone, but dependent on where they were manufactured, they may behave completely different.
Yeah, and like Byron just pointed out, the app that you download onto those 3 phones may work on 1 or 2 of those
Yep.
phones and not on the third.
We had that happen with an NVR camera app. There was one where one of our employees had a Samsung Galaxy 3. The lead installer had a Galaxy whatever. The client had the same Samsung-looking Galaxy phone, and the app would not work on his phone, and it said, sorry, this app is not compatible with this operating system, da-da-da-da. But they're all 3 Samsung phones, and they were all 3 out of the same vintage. So they were all new Samsung phones, but they were all manufactured. So I looked at Jason's. Jason's was manufactured in Japan. Tony's was manufactured in Korea, and then this gentleman was Shangzhou, China, whatever. And they all 3 behave differently. Yeah,
Well,
because there's no standard.
But a lot of that has to do with the type of phone that it is, because if you don't have the right chipset in there, then it might not be strong enough to run that app, because the apps are looking for specifics. You know, they're looking for the type, like you said, the type of OS. They're looking for the type of processing power that you have, and
I think
possibly
at least
graphics.
with Apple, you talk about the governance and everything else. I think it's a lot harder for people to slip spyware into Apple.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
You've got
with
to jump through
Android,
their hoops
you,
first.
you've not just got the Play Store or Samsung Store or whatever, but you can download apps from any source that has an app with an APK file and tell the phone, yeah, I trust this app. And how do you know what you're putting on your phone?
Well, it was a proven fact they discovered about 6-7 years ago, but for about 10 years, the flashlight app on the Android phone was sending data to secret servers overseas. Every time you use the flashlight app on your phone. But it took them 6 years to figure it out.
Yep. No, it's just so Ramageddon continues.
So I'm not saying that Apple's any safer than Android. It may be somewhat safer, but for
I would
instance, today, just before it came out today, everything updated 26.3. That's MacBook, phones, iPads, and the watch. Everything 26.3 now, and it's like software. It doesn't tell you exactly what they're fixing, but I bet you that it's patches for security.
Well, sure it is.
So in the network world,
But that doesn't mean that it's not safe. It just means Apple, that manufacturer's doing their due diligence because they found a hole or a breach.
well,
But where Android doesn't do that, you don't have
in
to
the
do.
in the network world, it's not. We got a saying. It's not a matter of if someone is going to break in your network.
It's when.
It's a matter of when. So your job is to put a whole bunch of, because you can't prevent it, but your job is to put a whole bunch of roadblocks and stumbling blocks to where they just get discouraged and go mess with somebody.
Well, it's that, but the processing on the other side of that is putting flags up that's sending reports back to Apple, and that's because when that device finally locks up, it said, "I'm sorry, this software is no longer responding. Would you like to send a report or a flag to Apple?" And that's how they're getting that information is when you click yes, then they're getting a snapshot of, okay, what the heck happened here? What's going on? We have an issue, and then they're on top of it. There are checks and balances before a manufacturer can create an app for an Apple platform. Unlike the Google Play or Android platform, that's just open source. Yeah. Anybody who's anybody can do that, and they can make a Chase Bank app that looks just like the Chase Bank logo and do all kinds of funky stuff. Now they've cracked down on that a lot from the original. Correct. Well, there was a situation where this, and I'm going to pound on DirecTV for a minute, where we were at a client's house and their NVR went, haywire because they still use they still use DirecTV boxes, and this is a big house, a giant house, and so
you say it was snafu.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, and it was a giant house, lots of cable boxes, lots of video matrixing where it's piped into other rooms and stuff like that. So, needless to say, DirecTV did not understand how to manipulate this. The guy that came out to the house couldn't speak a lick of English. He was Italian, could not, which is really weird.
Weird.
Yeah, very random and weird. The guy could not speak English, couldn't even communicate in English. Phil, he would write things down for him. The guy couldn't read it, and it was just like, I don't understand why they even put this guy in that caliber of home or what was going on there. But that's neither here nor there. That's not a shot at them. Here's the shot at them. So the number so this person escalated it with DirecTV. DirecTV gave them the name of the supervisor. So they called me, got me involved, and this is one of those clients that I will literally move heaven and earth and drop anything. I don't care if it's Saturday 10:30 at night to go help them out.
Which is quite a few of your clients.
You are right. Well,
I don't get that kind of treatment, Ray. You get that kind of treatment?
No,
that's because they That's because they pay their bills.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I get it now.
No wonder why you went with the Sonos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get it.
No. So we went out there and they gave me a phone number to call and for the supervisor. So I talked to the supervisor and the supervisor goes, "Oh, I can't get into the box. You're going to have to call this backdoor number and they'll get you set up without having to sit on hold and yada, yada, yada and whole 9 yards." And so I said, "Okay, that's cool. Thank you for the number." So I call this number, rings 3 times. Lady answers the phone. And she keeps trying to sell me a service warranty for their account that pays for technicians to come out to their house to service their house. And I'm saying, and I finally got belligerent with this young lady. And I don't usually do this, but after about the 10th time, I said I wasn't going to give her a credit card number to sign up for this extended warranty service for their DirecTV boxes. I finally said, "Ma'am, we already pay you a month.
Yeah.
I need help setting up this new box. If you're not going to do that, then put me on the phone with your boss so I can get to somebody that's going to help me activate." Well, and then she goes, "Well, I already told you that I don't activate DirecTV boxes." And I said, why am I even on I just hung up the phone. So then called DirecTV back again. And then I reported whoever this number was, because it's one phone number, one numeric number off from DirecTV's phone number. And I am dead serious, not even joking. This happened 2 weeks ago. One phone number off. And it was
digit.
One digit. Yes, one digit. And I think it was the last digit out of the sequence.
So they gave you the wrong number or you dialed the wrong number?
I either dialed the wrong number. I haven't investigated that part yet. I either wrote down the wrong number or dialed the wrong number. But she answered the phone as DirecTV and was asking for a credit card.
And she wasn't
immediately.
DirecTV.
She was not DirecTV. Not even remote. They were a third-party company that was trying to sell a warranty for DirecTV equipment, which we don't even know if that's what they were doing or not.
Or
or
they just
how
wanted
that
your
was
credit card number.
Or they wanted your credit card number. But think about this. If you're an elderly person,
Yeah.
which they were, trying to get their service activated,
Yep.
which they were, which had been they've been clients with them for 15 years, and here it is, you're just aimlessly trying to, hey, activate my box. Oh, okay, fine. You want a credit card? Here's my credit card. And then you just gave a complete stranger that was pretending to be DirecTV. And I'm a professional. That's what I'm saying. I'm someone that knows better than this. But if somebody didn't know better than that, they would have had their credit card number. 100%. And it was one numeric digit off of the number.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I just don't do it because I'm cynical. I mean, if anybody asks me for SSID, social number, or credit card numbers on the phone, say, it's like, I'm not going to give you that. I don't even, unless I know who I'm talking to and I'm signing up for a specific service that I know they need my credit card for. And it's like, I've done it.
I give them credit card numbers to credit cards that's been closed out.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing but she was like, well, I'll transfer you to the people that'll get this box activated, but I'm trying to sell you a warranty plan. And she was persistent. And it was about the 8th time that we went around in that circle.
I mean, I wouldn't have made it 8 times. I'd have been like, after the first time, I'd have hung up and called the other person back and say, "You just put me onto a bum steer. I don't want to."
Well, and I when I had finally got DirecTV, I didn't want to call him back because I didn't know if he was in on it. It's like I don't know who this guy is.
All right.
Right. So I called DirecTV directly again.
They're all in on it.
They're all in on it. It's all a conspiracy. Responsibility. Yeah. No. So I called DirecTV back, and then I told them about this other number because I gave them the other number, and I said, "Hey, I don't know what this number is, but I got this from your supervisor. Your field technician supervisor. This is the number that was given to us to call to get this client activated." And she goes, "I'm going to look further into it." And then I don't know what happened to it, but anyway, but it's just one of those weird things. Talking about fake apps, talking about things that look the part, feel the part, sound the part. This is a live human being and a live company that was doing this thing. And I'm sure that happens more often than not. I mean, I always loved and was elated when I got calls of, "Yes, excuse me, your hard drive is showing an error on one of your computers at your shop." I always love those calls. I said, "Oh boy, did you call the wrong person?"
That wasn't a very good Indian accent.
I don't, there's some PC lines I just don't want to cross. Everybody's so sensitive about those things now. Sounded more like, say
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, we just do a little bit of that. Okay.
Say there, young fella.
I had a very interesting one.
Meet
of those
my
ones.
little friends.
Oh yeah. I did have an interesting one of those.
What's that?
One of those calls that when it comes through.
Hello, my name is Bob. Yeah.
We've identified that. In fact, I'll go back to an earlier one when my wife actually got the first one we ever got, and it's like some chap on the phone said, "We've identified that your computer has bugs and germs."
What?
Yeah.
Bugs and germs.
Yeah. So bugs and germs. But anyway, another one I'll have to tell you about later because it turned hysterically funny. But
Bugs and germs.
I can't broadcast what we said to each other on the phone.
Oh dear God! One of those sites. One of those.
They were pretending.
Beekeeper version 3.0.
They were pretending to be Windows, Microsoft, or whatever, and telling me
I always
got a
love
virus.
those calls. Yeah, you have a virus on. I said, really? What's my IP address? What machine has the virus? Well, I can't tell you that information until you agree to the contract. But why not? If you know that I have a computer on your network that has a virus, but yet you can't tell me what the IP address of the machine is, then how do you know that you're even calling the right person?
Well,
and then their ears.
They're not. They're just calling any number and just preying on.
Hoping that you buy.
Please click TeamViewer so they can get into your computer and do whatever the hell they want.
And TeamViewer, and we not allowed.
Beekeeper, the movie, yeah, it was
We're
just
not
like
allowed to use
Beekeeper.
TeamViewer corporately because it has so many security vulnerabilities.
Rust is the better one.
Rust.
Anyway,
So Ramageddon continues. Get your hard drives. If you don't have hard drives, get other hard
I've
drives.
just
all of
remembered
the
another
things.
one.
Oh dear
my
God.
wife's aunt got one of these calls from somebody. It's going to be quick. Listen, she got a call that says, "You've got a virus on your computer." Her answer was the best one ever and the best one to use if you want to cut it short. What's a computer? Oh, seriously, she didn't have a computer.
Is that the thing you
what's
plug
a
into the
computer?
wall?
Yeah.
Like he says, the lady called tech support and she says, the automatic cup holder on my computer is not working anymore. And he says, the automatic cup holder, the little thing that when you press the button, it comes out to hold my cup.
Yep.
The CD drive. So he says, and another thing, I was working on the computer and the lights went out and the computer went black. And he said, the guy was like, "Oh, really?" She said, "Do you still have the box for it?" She said, "Yes." She said, "Put it back, put it in the box and bring it back to the place you bought it from." She said, "Well, what do I tell him?" "Tell him you're too damn stupid to own one."
I gotta use that one for like 9. Never mind. Shouldn't say
Yeah.
that. All right. So
Moving on.
moving on and soldiering forth and carrying on this lovely podcast. And Byron has some IMAX questions for Raymond. That would be you, Byron.
Yeah, not the cardboard ray.
Yeah, it's
Today.
not the cardboard Raymond, the one he was throwing things at. But he did give him an apple
Now
pie.
now I know you guys were throwing things at me.
Well, he did give him an apple pie today.
Oh, yeah.
As
so
a,
that
as a
made up
consolation
for it.
prize, right?
Yeah, as a
Yeah.
It's only paper.
And I got a nice coffee cup. Thank you.
and a nice coffee cup that Lena still is mad about.
So, but now my question was, it's a two-part question. Currently, what role does AI plays in iMac? And part B to that is, what role do you see AI playing in the future if it doesn't now?
So, the first one, I don't think AI. Well, I guess this could be more of a combined answer because I don't really see AI playing any type of role in IMAX as far as what you see on screen. And I think that's going to go for most cinemas that are out there. And again, I don't really speak for them, but AI isn't. I don't think AI has really invaded the industry to a certain degree, but IMAX is very proud of what they do, what they built, and I think a lot of the filmmakers that are out there like to use the equipment. IMAX, they build, design their own cameras for what people use for filming. As a company, I think AI is pretty much everywhere. I think.
So sorry, can I just jump in? What's the key difference between IMAX and your regular cinema?
Aspect ratio.
So it's just aspect ratio, but
Yeah.
what's the resolution like? I mean, I'm just thinking, can it get to the point where people start using AI to generate IMAX quality movies from standard things, or do
No,
they?
I don't think they can. Because it's all about the equipment being used. Can you program something in there? I don't know, but I think they would have to really be, super smart and actually know the ins and outs of how IMAX does its things. So, even that type is like, you have to be special and be in that part of the department in order to understand, the quality that it takes for anybody to kind of, I guess, use
But
or try to come up with something as far as like AI.
so is it on a par with 4K in
Oh, are you
in
talking
terms
about
of resolution?
For resolution, yeah, it's
So really,
what
it's 4K, but a different aspect ratio.
yeah. So okay, so basically, just to kind of give you a little insight on.
So if somebody created a movie by taking a standard movie that was recorded in 4K and then applied something to it, AI, that converted it so that it was in the aspect ratio for IMAX, you then show it in an IMAX theater. Is it going to work?
No, it does. No, that's not how it works as far as the filmmakers go. But as far as resolution goes, it's how the filmmakers decide to shoot the film. And up until recently, I say maybe within the last 2 years or so, people were still shooting movies with film, but even the IMAX cameras, we still use film, right? Even Oppenheimer was shot in film, but.
Okay.
But that's up to the filmmaker. The process of where the technology comes for the IMAX aspect ratio is the cameras that they use. So if you're shooting a movie, we'll take Jordan Peele's Nope, right? He filmed some of that movie and with IMAX cameras. You absolutely have to use IMAX cameras in order to get the IMAX aspect ratio. So how AI would kind of help translate into that, I don't know if they can.
But I'm assuming we go the other way, like you film things in IMAX, but then they can be downscaled or downgraded graded to play in a standard.
Yeah, they have a process, but anything that's being shot or filmed in IMAX, they're not going to downgrade it.
So would AI play a role in the editing of IMAX film? Once it's filmed, the editing part of it, could it have a role in that aspect?
I don't know. We don't really talk about that because I think, again, it's going to go more toward what the filmmakers are doing. Because if the filmmakers, they meet up with those guys and then they make that determination on how they're going to proceed in post. So whatever that they do is
Are they still filming all in film, or is a lot of it digital?
a lot of it's still filmed in film. I know Odyssey
At some point,
shot.
though, the film gets translated to a digital format,
Yes.
because you don't take reels of movies to an IMAX theater. They presumably
It's processed, yeah.
They
yeah.
download it. So somewhere along the line, it's going to be a digital format.
Well-
and I'm assuming that they can apply AI to that in such a way, and it's going to be so powerful that they could put Justin's head and face on Tom Cruise in
Yeah,
whatever movie.
no, but they've been
Why
using,
wouldn't he want to do that?
I don't know. But they've been doing, movies have been digitized for years. Way even before AI even happened, because, a lot of that is done in post-production.
So what Ian is describing for the movie,
A very pretty man on Tom Cruise's body.
Doing all his own
let it
cunning
go,
stunts.
let it go. What he's describing is a kaleidoscope on steroids.
Hello there.
When he says download into the movie theaters,
Well, downloaded to the movie theater, yeah.
it's kaleidoscope. So you need about a 30 gig pipe to go to the movie theater to download.
I think 10 gigs would work. Yeah.
With a 30 gig switch, yeah.
With a 30 gig switch. Yeah. But again, going back to that, like I don't know how much AI would actually play into what the filmmakers are doing, because that's going to be something that they're going to have to figure out if they want to use it.
If somebody would create an AI algorithm that would give them the same, this is just my total assumption, the same quality they can get and reduce the amount of time it takes, they probably would jump all on it.
I can think of something that they
Because
probably use
whereby
it for.
you put out, just hypothetically speaking, whereby you put out 1 or 2 movies a year, if you get, that algorithm could let you put out, say, 6. So that internally, that's more money in your pocket because you're putting out more
Yeah,
movies.
but then there goes into the whole conversation of, is AI an art form, right? Because I think a lot of the filmmakers out there, they're not gonna want to have something be created without their input.
Yeah.
Because it is an art form. Any filmmaker, whether it's a horrible movie or a great movie,
They would have input because you think about it. AI is just an algorithm. It takes inputs and spits something out. So whatever you put into it, it just manipulates and spit it out in some form or fashion. So they will still have a sense of input, but they won't have total control over the output. They have to make a choice whether they want to implement it or not.
Yeah, but I don't know if and again, maybe that's just my, being a little bit more naive about AI, but like when you're shooting a film, you get instant dailies, on set that you can make changes on the spot. Now, can you do that with AI? I don't know. They don't do dailies as much as they used to. And for those who don't know what a daily is, it's just after shooting particular scenes, they will put this product, they'll put it in a can, they'll process it, and then they'll go to, they used to have throughout the country, they would have, wherever they're shooting, they might have a trailer there with the projector and stuff, and they would run the daily, and they would see, and they would look, and like, oh, we need to make this change, or that change. But, but even on the table on set, they can see what changes they need to make quickly, right? With AI, you'd probably have to sit in a room and be like, okay, well, I need to make this change, and this change. And, they can probably create that scene, right away, but I don't think it's going to give them the same type of feel.
I can see something coming along, and it wouldn't just be IMAX; it would be across all formats.
Yeah,
and
I
that
mean-
would be product placement, because I've seen stuff on just these content creators that are on Facebook and YouTube. They're making videos now where they're taking virtual actors and just taking a photo of a can of whatever it is, soda, and a specific background, and tell the AI thing to put this together, and you end up with it looks like a real person holding that can of soda on that beach or wherever it was they wanted. So if post-production you've got this digital movie file that, whether it's IMAX or other, but it's going to be shown in cinema, and it might be like, we need to advertise this particular product in this cinema, and they'll just tell the AI to stick that can of soda in at various places, and the label would always be towards the viewer.
Yeah, that's just an old trick too, right? I mean, because that goes back way back.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that AI, they'll just have a file that's going to be shown, and they can just say, oh, we want this product placement, but the person that's watching the movie isn't going to know that that person wasn't holding that particular product in that particular way when they filmed it. I can see that being the thing, because that's where the money is.
Right.
Yeah,
But
and-
you see,
and-
even on regular school pictures, like when my son takes school pictures for sports or whatever, they take all individual pictures. They don't take team pictures, and they put them together digitally.
Stitch them.
Together digitally as a team picture, and it's like, well, he mispictured it. Oh, don't worry about it. Just come and let us take a picture. We'll insert it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that it'll be there at a certain point, but I just don't see whether it's IMAX or, Dolby or whoever. I don't really think that they're going to be too focused on AI as far as what they're doing film-wise, but,
So where
filmmakers might change that.
So where do the IMAX movies come from? Is it like IMAX go to filmmakers and say, are you looking to make something in IMAX, or we think you should make this in IMAX, if they know they're already working on a project? Or is it
Well, the filmmakers go to IMAX, and they have the discussion with those guys over there, and then they make the decision on what they want to do. But I mean, IMAX has been making movies since its inception, but they don't. I mean, they started off as just doing documentaries,
Yeah.
in museums and stuff like that. So
Christopher Nolan is actually who pushed the envelope of that.
Christopher
first.
Nolan
He was the
is-
first one to just totally
he is
nut stuff with IMAX cameras.
Yeah, he is,
And he
I
broke
think
3 of the
really-
4 that exist while doing those
Well, I
things.
don't know. I mean, yeah, he definitely revitalized the 70 millimeter aspect.
The
of
interest,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you have movies like Sinners that ran in 70 millimeter. I think
Dark Knight.
Project. Well, I mean, I'm talking about even coming
Well,
into
even
the,
before then.
coming into the digital age.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, Nolan. Yeah, I mean, he doing the Dark Knight stuff, but he after the digital age. I mean, people are not really into filming because one, it was a little bit more expensive, right? And I think this way they can kind of do a little bit more editing and stuff like that, when it comes to digital stuff. But they don't have to go to the cutting room and then look through the little machine that they used to when they were editing a movie or whatever. But Nolan really did, I think, kind of push the envelope a little bit more when it came to 70. We kind of revitalized it a little bit, and everybody loves it. Everybody, you try to go find a ticket for movies that are coming out. I mean, when Interstellar came out, I mean, it did so well with in the Dallas market with.
So are movies converted to IMAX? Like I remember when Revenge of the Sith came out, you could see it on an IMAX. Is it just a movie was shot in a normal way that they're manipulating to make it set the IMAX aspect ratio, or was it actually
there might be a little bit. I mean, I think like anything, you would still have to kind of go with the type of negative that you need for the film.
IMAX still has black bars, by the way. I noticed that too.
top and bottom or side and side?
No, again, it's all going to be.
I just thought that was funny. I think that. So when Revenge of the Sith came out, we saw it at Edwards Cinemaplex. I-10.
Which movie?
Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars, Revenge of the
Okay.
Sith. and we saw it at Edwards Cinema. And I have a fun story where I got out of a ticket on the way to that movie, by the way. I'll get to that. But I noticed, because I'm a nerd.
Don't
it's
you
just
have to
what
have a ticket to see the movie?
It's just what I do. But so I was like in the middle, row. Dad and brothers all met to go see this movie because it was going to be cool. And it was on the IMAX screen. That was the big deal. That was the only one showing it on an IMAX screen. And so it was like, well, if we're gonna see this movie, we must see it on an IMAX screen.
Now you gotta. Are you talking about the original Star Wars release of Phantom Menace or what?
No. Revenge of the Sith Part 3.
Okay, Revenge of the Sith Part 3
Yeah.
was when it came out. What 2004,
Oh, good grief.
2005?
5. Yeah, 5
so
or
you
6.
saw it in 2005.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Somewhere in there originally. Yeah, it was when it was originally released. But I just noticed, and so we were watching and I was like, oh, even they have the annoying black bars, because I hate black bars.
See, and
I
that's
hate those damn things.
That's the problem, right? Is that I think we had this conversation once before. Where you're looking at aspect ratio,
Right.
right?
Well, right.
And
it's just the artist vision. Yeah.
If it was, you have to shoot in IMAX to get IMAX aspect ratio, right? You have to, it's not like broadcast where you see the sign that says, oh, this film was formatted to fit your screen or whatever. So if none of those scenes were shot, then you're going to get that. Again, like you got to remember, in cinema, you got 185,
Yep.
239.
Yep.
Those are your aspect ratios for cinema.
And then some of them use 40 now, right? Instead of the 39. It's like 240 to 1 instead of the 239 to 1.
It's
or is it vary?
No, I mean the aspect ratio is going to fit what the to kind of mimic what film would do, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not gonna, you're still gonna. I mean, I guess technically, if you're gonna go 239, 185, it'd be 240. If you're gonna be technical about it, but it's still gonna be scope format.
Yep.
Right.
Which is awesome. I
Is
love
going to be your
Cinescope.
239.
Yeah.
And then your flat's going to be 185.
Yep.
So you're going to look at that regardless. No matter what size screen you have, that aspect ratio is going to be the same, right?
So I noticed at Disney Plus recently, on all of the Marvel movies, you can watch it in 2 variations. You can watch it in IMAX Enhanced, which fills the whole screen, or you can watch it in the original format. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
And
I love it.
It's great, and that's what you want to see. It doesn't matter if you're watching it on a TV; you're still getting the IMAX aspect ratio.
Yeah,
regardless.
Yeah.
So
I just love it because I get to use the entire TV.
Yeah, but I mean, so you have to remember that, like, it's all about what you're seeing. It doesn't matter how big the screen is.
Right.
It's all about aspect ratio.
Right.
And anybody who's out there, if you want to correct me. But I just like, it doesn't matter the size as far as, what auditorium you're in or whatever, but it's all about aspect ratio.
So going back to Chris Nolan, yes, I am one of those nerds that watches the director commentary, and there's a really fun story, and you may have heard me tell this story or not, you may even know it, but when he was filming The Dark Knight, it was the scene where they had to strap an IMAX camera to the motorcycle, the Batcycle, which was already the most unstable prop they have ever built, because there was only one and he's a professional MotoGP racer that could drive this motorcycle. And because Christian Bale, who also rides motorcycles, he was like, man, I'll do it. And he said, no, insurance won't allow you to even look at the thing. They'll allow you to get on it and get off of it, but that's it. So this guy, this MotoGP adrenaline Red Bull dude, had to come out because he was talented enough to be able to drive the Batcycle. And so the first time they strapped, and you got to remember, like you had said, these cameras were mostly being used for documentaries, so strapped to helicopters and to film whales and undersea rigs and things like that, where they had
outer space.
Well, right. So they had these giant contractions to keep them, with gyroscopes and all these things to keep them safe and everything else. They weren't made to strap on the back of a motorcycle. And so the first camera they tried to strap to the bat cycle, and it just destroyed it on the first take. I mean, decimated this custom built IMAX camera. And so Chris, they had a second one because IMAX gave them two. And when they gave Chris two, they said, "No, all right, look, there's only 5 of these things that actually exist. So everything else we're working on new stuff, but only 5 of them exist in the world." He was like, "Oh yeah, no, we'll take good care of it." And so they tried something aggressive, and it destroyed the camera. So that was camera 1. So then camera 2, they were going to put it on a rig, basically, essentially like a motorized skateboard type of thing that follows the bat cycle on the front view and the back view. And it was going good, and then they hit a bump, and the thing just shattered into pieces. And they said, "Okay, one of us has to call IMAX to see if they'll let us borrow another camera." And one of the other cameras was being used doing a documentary, and we don't know where the other 2, but somehow he finagled a way to get another camera. But he said it was the most awkward and hard phone call of his life. And he said, "Okay, we're going to let you use this camera, but we're going to send a team down there because we don't know what you're doing to help you use this camera." And they did. And so that's how they ended up filming the rest of the movie with IMAX on site now, but because they don't usually do that. But no, they sent whatever documentary team that does the documentaries that is hands-on, sent that team down there to go help with that project. So it was just an interesting story that he destroyed 3 IMAX cameras.
Yeah, and
there was 2 left in the world, and they let him borrow the 4th one, I think, is what it was.
Those cameras, they're
massive.
They're not cheap, and we, IMAX does, we well, not we, because I don't build them, but they make their own cameras. They make their own lenses. So they have an amazing engineering team.
And that's who they'd send down there, and they ended up building a van out to film whatever he was trying to do.
Yeah. So Nolan, has definitely been using IMAX for quite a bit, and so going back to IMAX Enhanced, you're only going to see those on Disney Plus that were shot at that time.
Right.
So not everything. They, I don't know. Maybe they might be able to go back and try something. Because,
Well,
that's
but
just
seeing
something
that now Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars and everything else, it's only a matter of time, I would think, before they could, sprinkle their magic on.
And Disney's gonna put their Disney tax on everything.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You got to pay the mouse, man.
Yeah,
Got to pay the mouse.
even if you was
The Mouse House.
even in the disc to digital, I watched the thing on the other day on Kaleidoscape. It's like all the movies that wasn't Disney was like $5, $4, something like that. But all the ones that was Disney Plexar was only giving you $3 off of the actual new price for the disc.
You got to do the disc to digital thing.
Yeah, but it was like some of them, like, so the new price was like $24.
Yeah.
And Disney was only giving them $21 for disc to
But
digital.
all the Indiana
Are
Jones.
you saying that you got your Kaleidoscape?
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay. Just saying.
He only paid for half of it. It's half a Kaleidoscape.
So I should at least get half a copy.
You got Kaleido.
Or the Scape, either one. Either half you give
He
me.
ain't got the
works.
skate part yet. We got the half the Kaleido, yeah.
So with AI coming in, I don't know. I mean, that's I think.
So I think there's
going to do that.
I think there's a genie in the bottle effect. That was the thought process as you guys were talking about. It's just once the genie gets out of the bottle, you can't put it back in. And I think there are intellectual right concerns with artificial intelligence. I know there are several actors that are fighting artificial intelligence to make sure their likeness isn't used.
Well, that was the whole reason for the Actors Guild strike that they had a
Yep.
couple of years back was
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah, because of that. I know people like Harrison Ford, even he's getting up in his 80s now. People have brought it up to him that, hey, do you see yourself, voicing Indiana Jones and then with a younger face and things like that? And he just said, no, I think it just needs to be done. I just want to be done. Once I'm done, I'm done. And as aggressive and as fun as artificial intelligence is, there are things, and yes, it gets better every day. It gets better every year. There's more impressive videos and things that are coming out every year, and with it. But once in his concern, and this is coming from an 83-year-old man, his concern is, he says, once you put those things in that container, you can never get them out of that container. And then it's just the Wild West of who has your rights and who can do a voiceover in Tom Cruise's voice, or who can do a voiceover in Matthew McConaughey's voice.
Well, I mean, again, that's going back. I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Scarlett Johansson have an issue with, I think it was Alexa or something, where they wanted to use her voice, but she said no. But I think they wound up using it anyways, or they kind of made it.
And then you got Snoop Dogg that'll do a voice for anything. He'll sell everything from Topo Chico to Doritos.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of intellectual property there. I think you got to be very careful with AI. I mean, we're talking about it, and I don't know if you guys saw the commercial, the Jurassic Park commercial, where they made everybody look like it was back.
They were younger.
Yeah, I mean, it's
getting better,
scarily
better.
It is getting very scary. Yeah.
No, the last Indiana Jones, I think, we covered that in season 1. I think it was on. We used to do, back when we were doing this crazy show schedule, we were doing 3 shows a week, and there was an episode of what we called Hey Guys, which was just either movie talk or technology talk about different things that weren't necessarily a full show.
That sounds fun.
But yeah, no, it is fun. Actually was fun. It was a lot of fun because we could cuss on that one, and we would do all of those things. And yeah, so there was a lot of fun technology, and Ray just got shocked by the door. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, no, there was a lot of that stuff that was going on back then. So yeah, I think it's a slippery slope, though. That once you unleash that particular technology and put actors and actresses in and things like that, and you have to start fighting for more intellectual rights and whatnot. But it's not even. Here's the thing: it's not like even. Back then, it was like somebody using your artwork or your picture and things like that. But what we were referencing was the Indiana Jones movie that had just come out, where the first 20 minutes of the film, he was de-aged by 30 years. So he kind of looked like he did in Raiders of the Lost Ark or Temple of Doom looking, So, and it was. The problem is they can't ever get the lighting right on those particular characters' faces. They always look like Shrek or claymation looking, and where light doesn't reflect off their face and doesn't hit their face properly and things like that. So there's a lot of different weird things where it's kind of a half-baked thing where I don't think it's quite ready for prime time as of yet. So, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with it as they come on board. Yeah, no. So I covered the door with acoustic panels, and apparently it is a shocking combination, as people need to exit the room earlier than they're supposed to. But yeah.
You need to put some static guard in this place, man. You spray it.
I mean,
I believe he do it on purpose.
dude, I think I heard that zap through the microphone.
Well, I mean, you probably should. I probably almost grounded out this whole room.
No, it was fun. Yeah, no, that's fun. But yeah, no, what I was talking about was the Indiana Jones where the first 20 minutes were all AI. It was all where they digitally de-aged him 30 plus years.
Oh, but you weren't talking about how
Dial of Destiny.
how horrible that first scene. Well, I don't
No,
know.
I
don't,
did-
don't even get me into them because that movie was so disappointing.
Everybody that punched him in the face, I was worried you're going to screw up the computer because it didn't look like his face, you know? So, and then I think they started that with Tron Legacy, or they tried to. And Tron Legacy, he ended up looking like the prince from Shrek. Jeff Bridges did. He didn't even really. It was just.
Yeah, but at least you have an excuse in that movie
because it was a digital world. Nobody
it was
cared.
it was a digital world. Who
Yeah,
cares?
nobody cared. So, but again, I think it will get better, but it's not going to be as good as the real thing. It's just not like the Luke Skywalker thing they did in The Mandalorian. It was also, why didn't they just use Sebastian, whatever his name is that played
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, he looks just like Mark Hamill.
There was a push for that. I wish they would have.
Yeah, because to me it's distracting. You can't stop looking at it because your brain sees it and it can't figure out what's not right with it.
People are weird when it comes to things like that. So like Solo, right? People from a lot of the stuff that I was looking at and getting it, and as a Star
Solo
Wars
was
fan,
a good movie.
Solo was a great movie.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, they finally fixed that whole parsec plot hole. But okay, so the problem is that they expect when they see Han Solo, they see Harrison Ford, which is fine. But
True.
I mean, the dude he's old. And he's not going to be able to play this.
He's not
character
coming
forever,
back,
so
man. He's not coming back.
You know, you just drop it and accept it for what it is. You know, take your punches, and either you enjoy it or you don't.
Yeah, no, I feel like they should have done the same thing. I know the up and coming Fast and the Furious, Vin Diesel is not letting that go. Like the whole Paul Walker thing. It's like, bro, the movies have become worse because everybody that loved that character.
You don't need a good movie when you have family, man.
I know, right? Yeah, no. But the thing is everybody that loved that character knows that character would not just sit at home babysitting his kids and let his wife go out and jump off bridges and race fast cars while he's watching the kids. The plot hole became dumber and dumber as the movies progress, and
I
then
stopped that too. So
and then now they're trying to bring his brother into it, put the dots all over his face, and then make him look like Paul Walker. And I'm just like, just use his brother. It's just go with it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do that, just go with it. You know?
Yeah. Well,
But it's just, it's really weird. I did hear a cool rumor though that you'll be interested in. Mark Hamill is actually coming to do the Batman 2, the one with Robert Pattinson. They're filming the Batman 2. Mark Hamill is coming to play a villain, but nobody knows who he's coming to play. So it'll be
Sounds
interesting.
too complicated to me.
What? Well,
When you say the Batman 2, I mean, haven't there been like 16 different Batman movies already?
I'm talking about the most recent Batman comic book movie hater.
it's the
Drink your
Batman.
cup of
The
hot
Batman, as
haterade
opposed
in
to
your
Batman or
Technology
the Dark
Rocks
Knight
cups.
or
So let's turn this twist around. So Justin,
Oh dear God! Here we go.
in the realm of
There's no such thing as Samsoni.
the realm of
Samsung.
Logan Martin or Martin Logan, however you fix it,
The realm.
the role of AI in home cinema theater or home cinema theater tuning, room correction, or just straight out tuning. Does it has a role or a place in that environment?
I think it already does. It's called the hemorrhoid that is room correction. No, here's the thing, Byron. It's a great question. I'm still going to stand on my same platform that I've stood on on the whole AI opinion. Is artificial intelligence or lack thereof is not good enough to have it hold an authoritative place or weight in any industry, much less trying to room correct or room calculate and do things. Now, can it measure? Yes. Can it do math? Yes. Can it do math based on measurements? Sure. I'm sure it can. Do I think it's going to play a role? Sure. I'm sure it's going to be a marketing gimmick. I know Samsung has already put that technology in all of their televisions, where you can't adjust your picture settings without turning on or off AI on the picture quality. If you turn it off, then you can go adjust picture settings, kind of. But if you turn it on, it always looks better. So they just want it on all the time. I don't even know why they give you an option anymore. Just say it has AI picture calibration and leave it at that. So does it have a place? I don't know yet. I think there's a lot of things that are fallible about artificial intelligence when it comes to technology at the moment, even though it is technology. But if you're using artificial intelligence from an authority standpoint or a professional standpoint, then in my opinion, and I may get shoots and ladders and arrows and bullets thrown at me on this one, I don't think you're a professional if you have to use that tool. And I'm going to say that. I mean, I am a professional, and I've used that tool for experimentation, and it's been wrong 40% of the time. You know, it's I mean, blatantly wrong. And so coming into a home theater world, I think the end user already uses artificial intelligence coming into the home theater world as a place of authority, as a place of knowledge, as a place of I know more than the integrator does. And so maybe I have pee in my Cheerios on that topic, but because it gets used on me on a daily basis. But at this moment, I don't see people using it right now. I mean, I know Kaleidoscape's playing with Kaya or KAI,
But that's strictly, they did it strictly for
but
search.
even that sucks. Like if you yes, and I said Kaleidoscape and sucks in the same sentence, but even that AI engine sucks because half the time when you put stuff in it, it doesn't show you anything, you know, because it's not there, you know. So, but does it have? Go ahead.
Yeah, from the demonstration I've seen, it's more effective if, like you say, show me all the action movies that Sean Connery played in.
Right.
And they'll pull up the first 5. But if you want more, then you run the search again and it pulls up more. But it defaults to 5 initially.
Right. Well, no, and
If it doesn't, I'm sorry. If it doesn't
ahead.
pull up, Zardoz, then it's not doing its job.
But that's not intelligence. That's just a search. If there's a database that has all the movie titles in and it has actor names in, then all it has to do is extract.
Can you
a
just
list.
repeat what you just said?
No.
No, please. No, at the very
said
first sentence,
It is
repeat
not
that.
Intelligence.
Exactly. Exactly.
but
That
think
is
about
my
it.
whole freaking point.
But
All right,
think
no,
about
I'm going to
it.
get on my
AI
pissed off soapbox.
It's just an extended search.
He's crossing his legs.
No. That is my whole freaking point about artificial intelligence. Is it's not intelligent. It's a God bless it manipulated search engine that requires the user to put data in to seek an answer that it's basing off of keywords and data that could be wrong.
But you describe 90% of the operation of a computer.
Yeah.
A
pretty
computer
much.
only take inputs, manipulate the inputs, and spit out an output.
Right.
So that's just the 90%. So what AI does is it does the same thing. It's just that it gives you more information.
It's Travelocity. It's Hotline. It's Hotwire. It's the same crap that finds plane tickets and hotel rooms. It just does it.
It takes all the metadata that it has available on the whole World Wide Web and conjugate it into one layer.
Now continue your point, or do you remember it?
No, the point being that 40. You said 40%. I think it might be more than that. Is wrong, and
It's probably
And what I was going to say was, and then when you question it, it owns up and says, "Yes, I lied."
Yes, I know. And that's the beauty. It's like
Because-
it won't even it won't say it lied. It'll play politician on you. It'll say, "Oh, you got me."
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
You know why? Why
Fist
it's
bump.
wrong?
Kiss my baby.
Yeah.
The reason it's wrong in a bunch of cases is because when it's doing the data search, it's pulling opinionated information.
So well, no, exactly. It's if you have, and I've said this before on this show, if you have 1,000 people in a room, okay, 1,000 people, and 900 of those people are complete freaking morons, and they're wrong about a topic.
I think this sounds like Beast Games.
The other, it's going to base its intelligence and its data on that opinion on the 900, not the 100 that are disagreeing. And that's why it's not intelligent. So when you ask,
But you
can you use this in the home theater world? Well, yeah, you can use it for room calculate. Because again, when it comes to solid math, it's correct. But if I say, hey, show me a Tascam Mixcast 8, does it have this ability, this ability, this ability? Can I do X, Y, and Z with it? That's where the wrong comes in.
Well, because you get generic answers.
Because you get generic
But
answers.
I mean, where does it get the answers from? It tells you to plug an Ethernet cable in, and then you come to find out you can't do that.
I probably should have looked
So-
at that before I
You
ran the
didn't get
Ethernet.
Where do these things like ChatGPT learn? I mean, most of
It
the
shows
stuff
you
out
at the
there,
very bottom.
You've
where-
got Wikipedia
websites.
and Facebook and Reddit.
Wikipedia can be end user manipulated. Anybody
because-
can go
because
type
all
a
of that can.
definition on.
Any forum you go to online is going to have 90% idiots who think they know the answer. So you ask a question and you're just going to get a bunch of wrong answers, and then you get a bunch of people flaming them because they're the wrong answers, and then you never know what the right answer.
So we have a client that he uses it all the time. He's a wonderful human being, very intelligent human being. He's an engineer.
That's the first mistake.
And we built a beautiful JBL synthesis media room for him. In fact,
That was
we
your
just
second mistake.
I agree.
built the JBL synthesis theater room that sounds better than your Sonos soundbar.
My Sonos soundbar sounds amazing.
So does Byron's.
Before you continue the story, I am going to say, because of my previous engagement that I have,
And someone was late.
and somebody was late, I'm going to have to cut out. No,
Hey,
please,
he was
please, please, no,
worshiping.
don't cry, don't
he
cry.
was worshiping his Lord, and that is allowed.
I was.
I
Praying,
wasn't
was-
complaining about
I
that
was
one.
praying for all y'all heathens.
And I'm going to walk out of here feeling more blessed. So, yes, but
But you did have good input today, Ray. You said more today than you've said in a lot of shows.
Really?
Especially the last one.
great. That's awesome.
Especially the last one. That was what. Yeah.
That's
I'm gonna keep that-
That's what he's basing his AI response off of the last show.
Oh, I guess I'm gonna be walking out of here a happy man.
because Ray Artificial Intelligent needed a little bit of data input. So yeah.
So
No
I
cardboard
don't.
road
I,
today.
I do not want him to disappoint my little niece who's expecting me for
yeah.
dinner. So with that being said,
Ray's gotta
I bid
bow
you
out.
That's a
adieu.
Justinism.
Yeah. With that being said, I
There you
love
go.
that one.
Oh, great! Now we're turning to Justin.
No, he almost copyrighted it last.
So I have to let Ray out. You guys debate on whose TV's better.
Oh,
Well, I have a TV. Ian don't.
Not yet.
yeah, his is better
Goodbye,
than mine at the minute.
Hey, Ian has a virtual TV versus a real TV. Right, Ian?
Yeah.
Button. And now there were three. Ray has once again disappeared.
We are back to cardboard Ray.
And I was just about to say, yes, I have a virtual TV, but I'm hoping that it's going to turn into a real one tomorrow.
Are you stretching? Are you still stretching your neck, or are you fine?
I have no idea. I'm being a giraffe.
So, Ian, your TV becomes you going from virtual to physical on tomorrow.
Apparently.
No. Well,
We're hoping.
it's not getting delivered tomorrow. My whole day tomorrow is going to be manipulated by JBL Synthesis. So they're coming to the shop and
Not your whole day.
pretty much my whole day. Yeah.
Once you've spoken or texted and told them to get me my TV. That's your priority tomorrow.
No, my priority is to, yes, I got to do that, but my main priority is to figure out how this person's dissecting my room and trying to make it synthesis certified or whatever.
I guess I just need to come in and hang around all day tomorrow as well then.
You can if you want. I mean, there's whatever you want to
Well,
do.
it might be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be interesting.
You better watch it, Ian. They might put you to work.
Well, that might be beneficial for all of us.
It's true. It's a good point.
You know.
I know it'll get done right, and then he'll break things properly as well.
An
So.
additional expert in the mix doesn't hurt.
Yep. Ian has a new microphone stand. There's nothing wrong with his other microphone
Yes, there
stand.
is. It broke.
It broke because you messed with it. All right. So going into, do you have any more questions about theater, or was that all the questions you had about?
No, I just was curious about, AI is not going away.
No, it's going to be here to stay. And
And
again,
we're going to have different flavors. We're going to have different versions, and we're going to have different applications. So I just wanted to bring it out to the forefront. Can it fit in our world per se? Because it's already from a networking and a manufacturing side, it's already there. We use, preventive maintenance.
all right. So kind of recapping did you have something?
Yeah, it's something I was
No,
looking
go
at
ahead.
while you were talking
for
earlier.
it.
In terms of, we were talking about app stores. Well, apparently the EU are going to insist, or have insisted, and they've got some data act that now says that even Apple iOS has to allow people to install apps from other app stores. Doesn't apply here, but it applies in the EU.
Interesting.
They've also got something which I haven't seen the latest on, but a few years ago they came up with something that said by the year 2027, which isn't that far away, that all cell phones or all like smartphones and tablets would require user replaceable batteries. So this right to repair thing. So I haven't seen anything
I think that's
from
brilliant.
and I haven't seen anything yet from any of the like Apple new phones that might be coming out this year or next year, but certainly by next year.
Is that in the US or the EU?
In the EU, like a mandate law they passed in the EU that said that.
Yeah.
But this was back in 2023, and I haven't seen many updates since. But it's certainly a ways to go towards the right to repair. And like if your battery dies on your phone, like somebody I know, phone doesn't work because his battery's always at 2%.
That's because he don't answer it.
Yeah, so he should be able to replace the battery, but at the moment you can't because the manufacturing process that they came up with to make all these
Hello there.
iOS, Apple phones and Samsung phones and Google phones don't actually, they're not made for repair. They're all glued together.
If we were doing a video cast, the audience would have seen me shooting the naughty finger at Byron because he said I never answer my
So,
phone.
Ian, I think what we need to do is we need to take Justin's phone
which
and
is
put special ringtones on just for us, so he can hear the ringtones, and he probably
He has it on silent anyway.
Well,
even if it's on silent, certain people, like my dad calls, it goes
like my
sounds
son.
like
I did it for my son also.
Well, Sounds like a sonar alarm.
You just need to put us in favourites for it to do that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We're your favourites.
We're your favorite people.
Sometimes you don't like us, Ian. I believe. He's be anti
Well,
something,
you fired me twice,
but I hired you back.
only when it's your ulterior motives. And then you accuse me of making you spend money on things that you ask about and want to spend money on things.
Hey, I gave you credit, didn't I?
It's true. That's a good point. All right, what are you doing? Why are you tinkering again? What are you
The
trying to
microphone
do?
is at eye level, not mouth level,
So continuing and finishing up on our home theater section, it's probably good to. I was kind of going through a list of the most common questions that we get, and then maybe you can apply this to your own home theater situation. in most cases. Number one would be TV or projector. So is the way it goes. My theory is this: if you're not going to go over 100 inches, then just get a TV. You know, it's and that's
So with that said, in the 60-65 range, if you want to do Dolby Atmos and say a 2K K-scape or whatever, what TV would you recommend?
I like OLED. My favorite is OLED televisions. It's my favorite technology thus far. Sony, Samsung, LG, they all have good options at all different types of price points, but I enjoy OLED. OLED gives you that really deep, dark plasma ink blot contrast feel to it, and I really enjoy OLED out of the TV situations. If you're going to do a 65, the problem is OLED caps off at about 83 inches, and then after 83 inches, it gets higher than a Brontosaurus. But so as far as price point,
Yeah,
but I really enjoy OLED technology.
That's what Ray said. Ray said, well, you know, ER800, he should have sold you the ER300 that does Dolby Atmos. I said, well, my old cheap LG TV don't do
Yeah, but
Dolby
they're
Atmos.
ugly. The ERA300s are ugly as far
They're
as
big.
Okay, but this raises a point which I was going to ask you about.
Okay.
In terms of, say, you put a big TV up, and he's saying it doesn't do. If you've got a certain TV, it doesn't do Dolby Atmos or whatever.
It will. He just called it the wrong thing, but go ahead.
Well, whatever the thing is that
Dolby
you're talking
Vision
about.
is what he was talking about.
But if the TV is just a HDMI connected 4K monitor rather than being a smart TV, because you're running stuff through a receiver, which is powering all your speakers and everything else, does it matter that the TV can do all these other things because the TV's not playing any sound?
So again, to recap, he just called it the wrong thing. I think he was talking about Dolby Vision is what he was talking about. Dolby Vision is a color palette. It's I think we covered that last week. It's the HDR 10 plus, and then it takes the 10 plus and goes beyond the color palette, which is why Dolby Vision was created. Now, there's the reason why only certain TVs will do Dolby Vision is that some of them didn't want to write Dolby a check, and that's why they're not Dolby Vision compliant. But for cheaper TV brands like Hisense and TCL, and
Don't call my Hisense.
it was cheap. You even said it was. So yeah, don't get that twisted, good sir. You called it cheap, which is why you bought
said
it.
that you buy a TV based on price.
That's exactly also what you said. So for the people like that, it becomes a sticker on a box. They're and here's the thing, just because it does Dolby Vision doesn't mean everything you're doing is in Dolby Vision. It just means if the format was shot in Dolby Vision, or the movie was shot in Dolby Vision, or the movie complies with Dolby Vision, then it will automatically convert to that color palette of Dolby Vision. So going back to what you said, is a great question, but I think the whole question kind of came from he just called it the wrong thing, which was I think he was talking about Dolby Vision, not Dolby Atmos.
We're basically saying that whatever the projector or the TV.
If you're not going to go over 100 inches, then go with the TV, is what I would say. And this is what I say that every day to people that come in.
You've been trying to convince me to get a projector.
I would get my thought process stays the same. I would still get a projector and screen in that room. I would not do a TV.
I know I could go.
I wanted to get rid of my
I could go
projector.
bigger than
Yeah,
that.
you could do 120. I have a 120-inch black diamond sitting in the hallway that I could throw in the room now.
I wanted to get rid of my projector and get a 100-inch TV, and he talked me out of it.
That's true. He's not that. That is 1,000% true. I 1,000%.
So you saying that?
Talked him out of it.
But you saying my old LG TV that's about 6.5 years old still can do Dolby Atmos?
Okay.
Probably not.
All right. So yeah,
I'm going to say this one more. No, it can't do Dolby Vision. Okay. So, and this is a great question. So Dolby Atmos is an atmospheric sound field. So there's not a TV anywhere that's going to do an atmospheric sound field. You have to have
a media device.
Correct.
Okay.
But what you're talking about is Dolby Vision. It is the Dolby certified color palette.
Well, what led to the question was when Ray said I should I should have bought the ERA 300s versus the 100s. And my response to them was the incorrect response that my TV can't do Dolby Atmos.
So that's not that.
But it has nothing to do with the TV.
If your TV is it eARC compliant or ARC compliant?
I don't know. I think it's ARC.
Okay, so ARC, it would process Dolby Atmos through in a region. It's just not as going to be uncompressed as eARC. So eARC is full uncompressed audio backfeed from smart apps and whatever apps you're watching and things like that. So it could be Dolby Atmos compliant. Now I understand what you're talking about. So you're trying to backfeed your smart features from your TV to get it to process Dolby Atmos, which it in theory could do that as long as you had a fast enough HDMI cable and a Dolby Atmos compliant soundbar, which you do, which is the ARC Ultra.
I don't have the Ultra. I just got the ARC.
The ARC, I don't know if the ARC would do Atmos or not. I don't know. I know the ARC Ultra will because it has more speakers.
Yeah.
But I think it'll process Atmos. It's kind of like a 4K eShift thing where it just processes it and then spits it out, and it whether it's atmospheric or not may be a thing. So
funny joke. So I put the ER 100s on each nightstand.
Okay.
And so when you mute it, the light turns green.
Oh.
But even though if you turn the hardware lights off, mute overrides that setting. So this morning, my wife wakes me up and she says, I had to turn the speaker to the wall because that green light was just getting on my nerves. And it was only on my speaker. I say, no, it's on another speaker too, look. So what I do, turn the TV on, turn the volume up.
So even if you go in the app and turn the status lights off, it still does it?
Yeah, mute overrides the status lights.
Interesting. You have to put a piece of tape over it or something.
Right, and it's a green light.
Yeah, that would drive me nuts. I'm with your wife on that one. I used to have a Samsung TV in the bedroom, and it had that red light on the older ones had the red light on the bottom right. It drove me insane.
If you're sleeping, you don't see it.
It's true. You got a good point. I have no smart rebuttal on that one.
So how does it bother you when you're sleeping?
That's true. It's a good point. It's trying to get to sleep is why it's bothering me. So, okay. So rule number 1, going under 100 inches, or at 100 inches, I wouldn't recommend doing a projector and screen.
If I did go a bit bigger, like you said, 120 inch,
mm-hmm.
which would probably be about as big as I could put there. What kind of price tag are we looking at for a 4K projector and a screen?
So the screen would be donated because I walk by one every day.
But assume that you didn't have a screen to donate.
Oh, you'd probably you'd be at.
I'm doing apples and apples, not oranges.
You'd be about $1,200 to $1,500 for a screen.
Yep.
And then projectors between $2,000 to $3,000, somewhere in there.
So, kind of price wise, you're saying there's not going to be a big difference because the TV that I'm talking about is currently at about the $4,000 mark.
Yep. Yeah, no, so to me, dollar per square inch projector and screen is still the best way to go if you're wanting to go bigger. Now, is it going to look as vivid as a television? No, absolutely not. And I'm not going to blow smoke and tell you that it is. But if you go with a high enough end projector, a lot of magic can happen with that. But it's still, even the highest of the highest of the highest of the highest end projector is not going to compete with a television. It just won't, and I'm not going to be. But what it does do is it creates that larger than life experience that you get at a movie theater.
But just
that it mimics at a movie theater.
But that's only 3/4 of the equipment he needs.
He's got everything else.
Oh, you got AVR?
Yeah. No, he's got a whole working system up in this room.
Speakers could probably do with upgrading.
Oh, yeah. No, we could do that. So if I was going to redo that whole room up there, there's a couple different ways to do it. If you're not going to touch your speakers, then use just a standard 120-inch silver screen. if you are going to redo your speakers, then I would say do an acoustic transparent screen, reposition your speakers, put your left, center, and right behind your speakers, right behind your projection screen. And that's my favorite method to do any of those things. I love that method because the voices are where they're supposed to be, the action's where it's supposed to be. Nothing's below or above the screen, and it's not voices from the heaven or voices from their Nike sneakers. Everything's coming from where it's supposed to mimic it coming, and that's exactly what they do in a movie theater. So it very much mimics that. In fact, I would say about 90% of the installations I do is that method. It's acoustic transparent screen, speakers are behind the screen. I absolutely love that method. But yeah, in your situation, you could go, I think when we calculated it, almost 20 inches bigger if you wanted, and it would look, and your room's big enough for it. If your room's not big, the thing about the reason why projectors have started to kind of hold their own in this market is because people have gone way bigger. I have sold more 150-inch projection screens this year and toward the end of last year than I have sold in the 20 years I've been doing it. So what's interesting and fun is those sizes have progressively gotten bigger as well. And again, it's creating that larger than life look and feel and that you get from a commercial cinema.
Yeah, but we're back to the question: home theater or home cinema type of thing, and that room is ideal for either because it's got no windows.
Sure, no, it's made for it. It's purpose built.
But if you have a projector and a screen and you want to watch something in there, you basically got to turn the lights off or really dim down the side lights.
And that's still the case today, unless you're going with short throw projection.
Yeah. So I'm still, as I explained last week, with I don't have stadium seating. I have couches around a rug and possibility of just having a table in the middle. So it's more of a social place if you've got family that could sit around. And if you want the TV on with something like, there's some football game or something that you just watching, but you're having more of a party and it's on.
It's a communal room. Yeah, absolutely.
You can have the lights on and still watch the thing, and
it's not washed out.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can probably do that on a 70-inch downstairs. So is there a point in having that kind of room set up like that or not? Well, in as much as that's the room with the better audio, because I only have a soundbar downstairs with a couple of back speakers on Bluetooth, which are okay, better than the TV ever was.
I will say this. In the majority of the rooms I have built, and I told Byron this very thing when he was talking about putting a TV upstairs as well, as I said, the majority of the homes that I've owned, where they had media rooms, and this is coming from a professional that builds them, the majority of the media rooms that I've built for clients that are upstairs, if it's not something special and compelling, you're not going to use it. And the reason why is, let's go back to that statement you just said. The TV in the living room has gotten also progressively bigger. Byron has a 98-inch TV in his living room. I know people that have 85-inch TVs in their living room like it's nothing now. Back when I was a kid, if you had a 36-inch TV, that was high cotton. I mean, you were,
and it was a tube TV,
right? Exactly.
It weighed about 300 pounds. 300 pounds, and you could just about hardly lift.
Also, I hate those TVs. Yeah, no. So
I had a JVC 36-inch.
My dad had a Sony
widescreen.
JVC. Yep.
And it had a subwoofer box sitting on top, so it had good audio. But it was as deep as it was wide.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. And so, but the thing is we've changed. We've changed in the way we watch our media. We've changed in the way we watch television. We change what we watch on television and how we watch. And our TVs have gotten bigger. And so here's the thing. if I put an 85-inch downstairs and then I have a 98-inch upstairs, I'm not going upstairs. Screw all that noise. My food's down here. My loved ones are down here. My cats are down here, or dog, or whatever. Unless one of those scenarios is mad at me, I'm not going to go upstairs and watch a 98-inch screen, because it's not much different of an experience as it is downstairs on my 85-inch or my 75-inch or whatever, and I have people that put 85 inches. So if you don't make that room fun and you don't make it special, then you're not going to use it, and you won't, because now, I mean, think about it. Byron has in his living room a Paradigm audio system with in-wall speakers and in-wall subwoofer, receiver, 98-inch TV. That's only 10 inches smaller than what he has upstairs, because upstairs I think you have 110-inch.
120.
Oh, is it a 120? Okay, so 20. So his is a little bit different, but that's what I'm saying. It's just, but if he had a 110 upstairs, he probably wouldn't use it. Wouldn't use it anymore. Why? Because I got to go upstairs. So make it worth the trip is my rule.
That's what's driving my room for us to do the room. So number one, we do the Kaleidoscape. Number two, we'll do Dolby Atmos to make you want to experience that experience over. It's not like a drug head who's looking for that first high all the time from that first hit.
My perspective is I don't really have the capability of installing good audio in that living room, because
your ceilings are 20 foot. He has the same problem. If you go in his living room, his ceilings are 20 foot tall.
Yes, but they've got all sorts of other funny shapes and things where it would just be impossible to put speakers where you want to put speakers.
Sure.
Now, in the media room upstairs, where the screen's going to be, we could put speakers in that wall, because there's
all kinds of things,
space behind it. Although at the rear we're going to be snookered because of, not necessarily, but they would have to be perhaps specialty speakers, unless they were in that slopey bit in the ceiling where they are now.
Right.
You couldn't put them in the back wall, because that's the living room the other side.
Yeah, it's probably going to be very structural.
And you couldn't put them in the side wall, because that's the outside wall, and it's like...
Well, you can put them on the side wall, even though it's the outside wall.
Well, one side's the outside, but the other side's a door and light switches, and...
It's busy. Yeah, you've got that bar on one
really
side.
Busy,
yeah, no, I see. Yeah, it's just not ideal for that type of speaker placement.
But at the end of the day, if I do replace the speakers, it's going to be a far, far better audio experience than it is now. And whether I put a projector or a TV in there, it's going to be more enticing to watch movies in there than on the TV downstairs.
Sure it will. Yeah, no, and that's the thing, is it's the only room that you can drastically change and make it fun. You can make a theme. You can make it fancy. You can make it look like a modern cinema. You can make it look like a living room.
Well, I've already got,
like yours.
You've seen, I've already got the things hanging on the wall,
the gubbins, as you would call it.
The poster type pictures, and the movie room themed things hanging on the wall that look like a spool of film or cinema tickets, so it's already looking like that kind of room.
Yep. So
but you go in there and it's in the dark if you're watching a movie.
Exactly. So yeah, and that's, so the number one question is projector TV, and that's the answer. The answer on projector and TV is 98. If you're not going to go above 100, go with a TV. And as much as I hate saying it, as much as I hate installing them, and then I get asked about, well, what do you think about these like Lena yesterday asked us about the MicroLed panels. And here's what I'll say about the MicroLed panels. They're cool. They're cool in theory. You see NFL sports stars doing advertisements for them now, and NBA stars doing advertisements for AWOL and things like that. Here's what I'll say. If you were to buy a Ferrari today, okay? If you were to buy a Ferrari,
it would be called a Corvette, yeah.
Well, okay. Well, no, let's just stick with Corvette. If you bought a Corvette today, the thing about Corvette is Chevrolet is not going to go out of business. So you can get parts for it. There are people that can work on it. Even if you don't take it to the Chevy dealer, you can take it to a shop and get it serviced and worked on and all of those things, right? So, and that's the thing about Corvette. Same thing with Ferrari, same thing with Mercedes, same thing with Harley Davidson, same thing with all these other brands that you can always get somebody to service it because they're going to be around. The problem with the MicroLed technology is that it's the wild, wild west. Most of it comes out of China. It's produced in the same factories, and it's what I call white labeled, and they put a stamp on it, and it's all the same crap, same manual, same everything. But they all have a differentiation of their idiosyncrasies, and some people do this, and some people work like this, and some people work like this. But it's not a copacetic, cohesive thing. If AWOL goes out of business tomorrow, then
if they go AWOL,
then you're screwed, right? But if you buy a Samsung wall, the likelihood of the Samsung wall Samsung going out of business is probably slim to none because they own everybody.
well,
And if they do, you have a bigger problem. But I know a client that bought, not a client, a vendor who came in, who represents several different. He represents Trinov and JBL and all these big esoteric brands. And he was telling me that they got, and I won't say the name, the manufacturer of the panel, because I'm just not, I don't want to put them in a bad light. But this individual spent about $110,000 on one of those MicroLed panels made by one of the big guys, and they hooked it all up, and the picture was green. The whole thing the whole board had to be replaced. The whole thing had to be torn down. And all the board panels, everything had to be boxed up, shipped back, and then they had to get a new one. $110,000 panel, right?
Poor quality control.
Right. So there was another brand, and I will mention this brand because they kind of threw us under the bus, and I'm going to say it, and I don't really give a crap. So there was a brand called Max Hub, where we did a giant 165-inch panel on somebody's back porch. And the whole reason we went with this brand is because we were told they were made in Dallas, Texas. We were told, oh no, these are made in Dallas, Texas. We can get you parts quick. We can get these boards quick. We can do this. We can do that. We can do this. And I was like, okay, cool. This sounds great because it's cool that I can get someone in the phone, get them to answer the phone. I'm not calling LG. I'm not calling Samsung. I'm not calling one of the giants where I'm just this little itty bitty guy that doesn't exist. So, but what happened is they shipped us a panel. We built it. It was beautiful. Peas and carrots. All was right with the world. Champagne flows from the heavens. It was great. But what we didn't know at the time is that the generator on this electrical circuit was creating absolute chaos with this board. And it was frying panels and frying pixels. And then once we kind of narrowed it down to that, we had to get UPSs in place, big ones, because that panel needed not one, not two, but 3 20-amp dedicated circuits that ran this board.
Clean sine wave.
Right. Exactly. So when you buy those panels, they ship you spare parts, a crate, not a box, a little box, a crate full of spare parts. Every one of those companies does this. Well, the reason why they ship you the spare parts is usually within that first 2 months, you're using all of those spare parts. You're literally rebuilding the whole panel once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, but you're not getting paid for those service calls. So if I were to sell another one of those things, I would sell it with a maintenance plan where it's like rotating tires, changing the oil, all that stuff. Because you have to. It's not a television. It is a sign. It is a billboard. It is a digital sign that people are turning into television. Now, here's the real pisser about this that Byron's going to sound funny because I'm going to call him out for a second. He was offered a deal on a Kaleidoscape in December. And he didn't want to get this particular Kaleidoscape because it didn't have Dolby Vision, and there was a couple other things that it didn't do that you wanted it to do. But the reason why he didn't do that is because it didn't have the newest video formats that were out there. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter. Your projector won't do those formats anyway. It doesn't matter. But I understood. It was fine. these giant MicroLED panels that you're building in homes don't apply to the same resolution factor because it all depends on what your pixel pitch is. So they go on a different type of engine called P count or point or dot count. They call them pixel count or P count. So what it is they're rated in like 1.6 millimeters. So every 1.6 millimeter, that's a pixel. And if you're going to put one of those in your home, you want to go at least below 1.2 millimeter, because otherwise you got to sit really far away from it before it looks like a choppy mess. You ever seen those signs on the road? As you get closer to them, they all look like Swiss cheese. You can see the pixels.
Yeah.
Just like your projector at home, you can get up close to your screen. It looks like a checkerboard. Same thing. Same rule applies. So 4K, things like 4K and 8K don't apply in that MicroLED world. Because think about that for a minute. When I say 4K, what am I talking about? I'm talking about resolution, right? And what is resolution? It's rise over run. It's width and height, okay, of that pixel count.
And it's a density.
Right. So when we go into the MicroLED world, none of that applies because you create your own density, you create your own width and height, and it's not a standard. It's based on the millimeter of pixel you have. So you can create 4K, but it's got to be so wide and so tall with the proper amount of pixels that are small enough to get 4K. But it's still not going to do Dolby Vision. It's still not going to do HDR10. It's still not going to do HDR10 Plus. It's not going to do BT 2020. And I will argue with anybody that says otherwise because they have drank the damn sticker Kool-Aid on the side of this crap, and it's what I call the wild west. It doesn't matter who the person that's going to win in that battle is the person that's going to pay to put those stickers on the box, and all they're going to do is they're going to put a little board in that machine that shows it on the screen, that processes it. That's all Epson has done. Epson does not make a native 4K projector, but it does video games better than a Sony will, which is comical because Sony created PlayStation. You would think that they would do games better than the Epson will. But all it does is it has a board that accepts and passes through 4K content. It doesn't have a gatekeeper anymore. So that's how they can call it 4K UHD compliant. Well, when you go into these MicroLED billboard scenarios, none of those technologies exist in that world. So the new Kaleidoscape that he just bought, where he wanted to do, and it would be interesting to see a Kaleidoscape work in that realm, because there's going to have to be some way you would manipulate it for it to work, right? Because they don't do Chroma 222 and 444 and all of those other things that is the industry standard for TVs and projectors. There's not a projector on the market that does Dolby Vision either. It doesn't exist unless it's in the short throw category, because those are more like televisions. That's what I'm saying. So when you get into the MicroLED world, yes, you can get in a massively huge TV where I can build one on site for between the pricing of about 30 to 100 grand. Absolutely, I can. But Byron's TV will do more for $1,000.
Yeah. Plus, you got
so will your TCL.
From what you've just said, apart from the cost of building the screen, you're going to have to install UPSs and all sorts of backup.
And think about energy usage.
Yeah.
There's energy usage on top of that, where anytime you're running two dedicated 20 amp circuits to something, that Barco in the other room has a dedicated 20 amp circuit. But here's the other thing. Barco builds video walls. Yeah. They build MicroLED panels now that will do Dolby Vision, that are HDR10 Plus compliant, but they're about $250,000. And that's the thing.
You wouldn't be putting these in a house.
What are you showing me? What is this?
The TV that I was telling you about in the church.
That's not a TV though. That's this is a MicroLED panel. Yeah, that's a microLED panel, which is fine,
But
it has burnt pixels.
not this one. The one on the other side.
Has the green dots, and that's what they do. They either turn green or they go black altogether.
It's horizontal.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that's 115, ain't it?
Yep. Yeah. No. So in that situation, those things are made to be left on. And you know what the manufacturer told me from MaxHub? Yes, I said it. Oh, don't turn it off. It's better to leave it on the black screen setting. So process that for a second.
So that's using 220 amp circuits. So
and it's staying on all the time because they're not made to turn off.
110 or 220 volt?
220. Actually, 3 20 amp circuits dedicated on a breaker, 20 amp circuits.
What's the total wattage?
That I don't know. I would have to look that up again.
Well,
a lot.
I mean, assuming they're running close to 20, they could be running at least 15 amps.
Right.
If it's a 110 circuit, that's 1650.
Yeah. And it stays on all the time.
Times 3.
Yep. It stays on all the time. It has to do refresh and maintenance for 8 hours all the time.
So
all these kind of things. And this is nothing against MaxHub. It's just, I'm just using them because that's what I've based on my experience. Now, I've had interviews with AWOL before and have talked to AWOL before on their forum because they post these videos and things all the time. And I'll post, okay, but how many dedicated circuits does it take? Oh, well, most, and they kind of gloss over it. They don't like to talk about it. And that's because
they know it'll put people off.
Well, right. I mean, I had to, again, that Barco in there is 6,500 lumens. It is a massive projector. And then half the industry said, oh, you just use a downstep. Barco says, don't use a downstep. You'll burn up the board if you use a downstep on that projector. And so I was like, okay, 20 amp circuit it is. And so that's what it has, 20 amp circuit. So
what are these walls? Who are they for? I mean, you're saying you can put them in residential, but it's like, seems a waste of time and money.
So the most people that I see them for, athletes like them, rapper, movie star, the even upper
But
class.
what are they designed for?
Class.
You say they're designed more for
you
commercial?
can watch TV on them. Yeah. No, they're designed for billboards. They were designed for signage is what they were designed for. They were designed to be big, bright mosquito lights. So you'll look at a billboard as you're going 70 miles an hour down the freeway. That's what they were designed for. And yes, you can use them in residential, and there's some great companies out there that do a good job of it, but they're gonna freaking break. They're gonna break. You're gonna have to service them he's got 2 in his church right now, and one of them's already broken. And how old are they?
A week.
I mean, how long ago did you put those in the church?
Oh, that can't be more than about a year and a half.
Okay, so 1.5 years old, and he's got dead pixels and panels on it. Again, You have to treat it more like a maintenance product, very similar to changing a bulb out on a projector, except these things run twice as hot. They use up 3 times the amount of power as a projector.
Or
more. And you better have pixel boards in your back storage because you're going to go through them. And then when you run out of those, guess what? It takes months to repair them. And that's why I threw them under the bus, because we were told, oh, no, we have parts on standby. If you run out of parts, okay. And then it became ship your pixel boards to us and we'll repair them in-house. So we did. We had about 200 panels we shipped to them, and only 80% of them were repaired. We had to make notes on each panel, what was wrong with each each individual panel, 200 panels. I had to put a sticky note, wrap it up in there with the panel, and say what was wrong with it, pick what pixels were burned out. It's a maintenance nightmare for folks, and it's just not ready for prime time. Now, if you're going with somebody like Barco or Samsung Wall or LG, Ray built one for the other company who we can't mention that he was with, that has one in Richmond, Texas, and it's an IMAX size version of it, and it's a MicroLED panel, but he also said it breaks all the time. It's always has pixels going out and things like that, and they have to keep it on. Otherwise, if it refreshes, you take a chance on burning pixels out.
Can they hot swap the panels?
Sure. You can, I've got a video of me building one while it was turned on, and every time it was cool. It's like an 8x8 panel, and maybe not that big, It was more like 5x5 or whatever, about the size of a 2 iPhones stacked together.
What have they got over at the Butler? Is it the Butler House?
Same thing. That's a microped, and it's always broken.
Yeah.
Look at the Regal
And
Cinema,
it's outdoor.
right? And look at the Regal Cinema by your house.
Yeah.
The ones with the giant screens on the side of it they're broken at least once a week.
Especially the one in the back, the one that's all the way in the back. You got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
Number 5 stay broke.
Always broken. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just because, and they get tired of fixing it.
Yeah.
Now, MicroLed panels do awesome things for Hollywood. Things like Hollywood, like Disney put about $500 million and built one, a giant studio that does nothing but MicroLed panels, and it's all Sony technology. The Vegas Sphere, go look at the Vegas Sphere. That's all using MicroLed technology, MicroLed shapeable technology. But I saw a video just the other day of somebody at a concert there, and they had burnt pixels up at the top. That's what I'm saying. There's no way to get around that. So, but that goes back to again. So rule number 1, not going over 100. Use a screen, projector and screen. It's still the biggest way to go. $1 per square inch, still the biggest way to go as far as you want to go. So rule number 2, there's 2 rules. On number 2, it kind of goes into rule number 3 is don't go too small, don't go too big. And that's all room dependent. Everybody's, well, how big should I go? Or how many subwoofers should I add?
It's like you said just now. I mean, you remember when we had 36-inch tube TVs, which was the biggest thing you could get.
Yeah.
And it was like everybody's amazed at how big that is. Well, there's nothing now. I mean,
no, I don't even think you can buy a 36-inch TV anymore.
You get 32s.
32, right?
Computer monitors, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
even,
and I know people
even
that
computer monitors are better than.
Yeah, because I got 2 32-inch curved Samsung computer monitors on my desk.
Yeah. Yeah. So rule number 1, choose the right video format. Rule number 2, don't go too big or too small, and make it compelling. Make it worth the trip upstairs. And I say this every day when I talk to someone about a home cinema. Make it worth the trip. If you don't make it worth the trip, it'll be the worst investment you've ever made. You're going to spend a lot of money. You're going to spend between 10 to 15 grand building this room. And, and that's on average. And if you don't make it worth the trip upstairs, you're not going to utilize it. It's going to become storage or a playroom. That's it. Because otherwise it's make it special. If you're going to invest that type of money in something, make it special. Make it worth the trip upstairs. So, there's a couple different ways around it. Number 3, how many channels should I add? Well, or it was number 4. So number 4 is how many channels should I add?
Audio.
That's all room dependent.
All room dependent. And how much money you want to spend?
Well, so here's what I'll say with that. If you utilize things like Rel 3D, you don't have to go as heavy with your speakers because, you're using high pass technology that moves fast, that plays fast, and you'll swear to God your speaker grew 10 feet tall if you use Rel 3D. And there's a lot of cool different products that they're messing with right now to play with Rel 3D. I absolutely love this technology because anyone can use Rel 3D. Any type of system can use Rel 3D. Anybody can add that type of technology into your home cinema. So I'll break it down on speakers though, really quick. So on speakers, it's simple. Stop with the 5.1.2 or 7.1.4 or 5. Blah, 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 blah. Screw all that noise. Keep it simple. It's 5 speakers, 7 speakers, 9 speakers, 11 speakers, and it can go all the way up to 224 speakers. Yes, I said that correct. But let's go back. 5 speakers is 5.1. So small room, 5.1 works great. It's a native format. It's going to sound good. It's going to look good. 7 speakers is either 7 channels natural. So that's 3 in the front, 2 in the middle, 2 in the back. It gets rid of the small problems that we had with 5.1. Okay. And then you can do 7 speakers atmospheric. That means get rid of the surround backs, add front heights, add rear surrounds, that's 7 speaker atmospheric. So that's what people want to call 5.1.2. It's like, it's 7 speakers. Now, let's go into 9 channels. So 9 channels, 3 in the front, 2 in the middle, 2 in the back, 2 height speakers. That's 9. Keeps it simple. Or you can call that 7.4. No, screw all that. 9 channels. Talk 9 channels. Now, 11 channels, same format. 3 in the front, 2 in the middle, 2 in the back, 2 in the front for height, 2 in the back for rear height. That's 11 channels. Then it can go into 13 channels. That's Voice of God channel. And then 15. But the standard for most home cinemas that come out of this building is 9 and 11. And then we get into subs. And I love subs. So the THX standard for subwoofers states minimum 2 subs. And that's been the rule since like 1999 or 98. That's been the rule. 2 subs. 2 subs minimum. 3 subs better. 4 subs awesome. And then you can go above 4 and it's like the Voice of God stuff. You know, it just becomes Thor's hammer, the way you manipulate the subsonics. But at minimum 2 subs. You want 2 subs. And the reason why you want 2 subs, well, I know why you want 2 subs. You just want to sell more subs. I hear that, Byron. That was my Byron impression. But the reason why you do more...
He's reading my thoughts now.
I know. Yeah, no, I'm mind reading. So the reason why you do more than 1 sub is you get rid of the hotspot. And I disagree with 90% of the sound engineers out there. And I'll say that, and I'll say this, and they can flame me all they want because they do every time I say it, is they say bass isn't directional. They say, oh, well, bass is omnidirectional. It bounces off surfaces and can cast that wave around you. And I say, yes, to an extent, that's true. But I call bullcrap. If I have 3 speakers in front of me and I have a subwoofer to the left of one of those speakers or to the right of one of those speakers, and I close my eyes, one of either whatever side that subwoofer is on, and it's not magic, it's physics, is going to play louder. And it's going to be a lopsided effect in every home cinema that you can put it in. Everything. I don't care what you say. I don't care what sound forum you're on. I don't care what audio engineer you're on. I'm right. You're wrong. This is the way it goes. This is the soapbox. I've used this method my entire career, even before it was cool to add 2 subwoofers. But 2 subwoofers, 3 subwoofers, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. Awesome. Hook the back up to either your surround back channels using Rel 3D or high pass. Marantz has some cool technology for this. Trinov has some cool technology for this. Acurus has cool technology that's called panning bass. And this is where Byron spent more money, where the bass actually pans with the information on the screen. So it'll pan from left sub to right sub. And then they add another dimension to that. Left sub to right sub rear, left sub to right sub front. And everybody's like, well, why would that matter? Well, if a dinosaur is walking and he's going left, right, the left side fires, the right side. It adds a cool third dimension to that.
Top Gun.
He's still sore. His wallet's still sore from Top Gun. But that's what I'm saying is THX stand, but keep it simple. 5, 7, 9, 11, anything over 11 is sprinkles on top of it. But that's what I would say. And then subwoofers, as you can add as you go in most cases on speakers. But minimum 5, I would say minimum 5.2. I don't even like to use the word 5.1. The reason why it's called 0.1 is because the subsonics channel isn't considered a full range channel, which is why they say 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3 or 0.4 or however you want to do it. So, but yeah, no. So minimum, I mean, most people say, oh, well, it's only recorded natively in 7. No, bullcrap.
Well, 5 would be a minimum in mine.
Well, right. Well, that's not, well, correct. Because you have a big room.
Let's say I wanted to put 7 and I wanted to put some on the sides. I mean, what distance back do you put them? Bearing in mind, I've not got stadium seating. I've got a horseshoe shape of couches. And
great question.
Don't mention couches, Ian.
Yes, because Byron still needs to move his because it's in the wrong place.
But I haven't really got much of a place to put them on one side. The other side, probably not a problem, but on the one side, like you said, it's busy. There's a door, then there's a small piece of wall, but that's got electrical light switches and things, but I have to move all the light switches, rerun electrical so that I could utilize that 3 foot or 2'6" of wall to put a speaker in, but then that fixes it in that position.
Where do you sit in this room? Where do you sit?
If I'm sitting in there watching something, I'm sitting in that reclining thing at the back, which is face onto the screen.
Right in the middle.
There's 2 couches on either side.
So where you want to put your surround is the midpoint of between either where you're sitting, where your ears are, or just behind it would be ideal on the sides, or worst case scenario, slightly in front of it.
Well, that's going to be the worst case because
That's the door.
it's a double door, and as you look in through the double door, you're looking at the side of.
Well, what I would tell you first is to bring that set of seating off the back wall. If that recline, which is exactly
it's already quite a distance off the back wall,
right.
but in going, this is why.
So I would probably solve it within ceilings then.
So I can move it towards the screen. That's not a problem, and that might even help by if I'm going down from 106-ish to 98. You maybe want to be a bit closer.
Yep.
And that wouldn't hurt. So, but it's still going to be slightly in front.
Right. So, and that would be okay. Or we can solve it within ceiling. Like if we could put in ceiling in, that would help with the surround. I don't like using rooms with a lot of in ceiling movement because it's what I call top loading a system. If you put too many things in the ceiling.
Well, everything's in the ceiling at the moment, apart from my .1 sub at the front.
Well, but you have angled though. You have an angled wall where they're facing, where they're already firing
down.
They're firing into your listening position.
And
so
maybe that's why they designed the room like that.
Well, it could be. It could be that the security guy who wired it just threw wires in because they didn't know what you wanted to do or how to do it.
Well, the speakers that are there were there because it was a model room, so a model house. So I'm assuming that they just said, like, okay, they're builder grade speakers.
But what you could do is you could turn the at least the front two. Actually, you could turn the front 3 into atmospheric. You could do height 1 and 2. Then you could do the center one, what they call a VOG, which is Voice of God channel, which is basically a slight atmospheric delay of your center channel is what we could do. And then your rears, we would keep them in the rear where they're at because they're also on an angled part that's facing into the firing.
But as I said, at the front, we've got the opportunity. We can use that angled thing, which is where the 3 are now. There's one in the middle and one either side.
Sure.
3 identical speakers. They're not even differentiated.
And they're close enough to your screen where it's not as distracting. I mean, if they're 5 feet above,
but we
your
could
screen,
also
then,
put others in the front because that wall is accessible.
which is what I would
behind.
totally do. I would totally put them in your front wall because that here in that perfect segue into rule number 5. So rule number 5 is speaker placement and proper speaker placement. And just because the speakers are placed incorrectly right now, we're just talking about sheetrock and paint, or we utilize the positions they're in to course correct. And I get this all the time. Everybody's like, oh, well, they're already there. And you know, I don't want to leave them not hooked up. Okay, well, we can make do with what we got. Or if I move, like Byron's room, for instance, his rear channels, his surround back speakers are incredibly spread out on the back wall. I mean, like to the extreme nth degree. The problem is that when you hear those channels fire, you're only, whatever side of the room you're sitting on, that's all you're going to hear. You're not going to hear the other ones. So we need to close the gap a little closer to make that a copacetic experience.
Put you more onto that soundstage.
Correct. Yeah. So, and we can room correct that a little bit, but we can't room correct it without physical. The best thing to do would be physically move the locations and put the locations in the right spot to begin with. That would be the most ideal thing. But just because if you, like in your case, if you have a room where you have things that, and I know this room, where you have things that are kind of in the right spot, then we can use those positions for the proper placement of the channels that need to be used. Because here's what's going to happen. And here's the common mistake. And actually, I see this more in living rooms than I do theater rooms. So say your TV is down low, right? And your speakers are 15 feet in the air. Well, guess what? If I am talking to you on the screen, if I am on your TV screen, which I will be one day, but if I'm on your TV screen, at some point, I'll either be playing music or I'll be doing something. In the next 5 years, I'll be on somebody's TV screen. Hopefully not in a wanted ad or something. But if I'm on your screen and I'm talking to you, I'm going to be 15 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pan. And the most common mistake I see is they'll have an in wall on the far right, a center channel sitting down on a countertop, and then an in wall on the far left, 15 feet up in the air. So great. So if I'm back on your TV screen, I'm going to be up in the air, down on your tabletop, and then up in the air again. And it's the most distracting, disorienting thing. And nobody can ever feel that they can't figure out why it doesn't sound right. It's like, well, why can't I make it? So when I get called in, hey, can you make my room sound better? And I said, if I got a 6-foot step ladder, it'd sound great. And that's the problem. So what I would do in that scenario is I would activate the two that are 15 feet in the air as atmospheric. Because guess what? They're in the atmosphere. They're heights. They're in the right proper placement. And then as long as I can keep as long as I can keep me alive and that person married by making the suggestion, is I would add 2 more speakers down lower where your center channel is, and it would sound 100 times better. And I'd bet money on it. I could bring in any pair of speakers. I don't care if they're cheap. I don't care if they're expensive. It doesn't matter.
Parking lot speakers.
Logan Martins, as Byron would say, I could bring a pair of Logan Martins in there and put all 3 of them in a linear way, and they would sound phenomenal. And so rule number 5 would be proper speaker placement and correcting the room. And that's all part of rule number 7, which we'll get to in a second. But we're finishing up here. So rule number 6 is actually pretty easy. It's stop neglecting the center channel speaker. Stop making it the afterthought. Stop making your left and right speakers huge and making your center channel itty bitty. And then you call a professional. That was actually really high. I don't know how I got that high. Then you call a professional like me to come in and say, I can't hear my voices. Like I can't hear the speaking. Well, no crap, Sherlock, because you're using a 3 1/4 inch driver and you got 2 behemoths with 7-inch drivers in the front, and this guy's giving all she's got, Captain, and it's not working. And so stop neglecting the center channel. It's single-handedly the most important speaker you have is your center channel. If it's too small, then it's playing catch up no matter what. So if you're one of those out there that has muddy voices and can't understand dialogue, if you have a situation where all you hear is the sound effects or music, then take a hard look at that center channel speaker, because it is the most and I blame the industry as well. It's the most neglected in the industry, because it's an afterthought. Because most of these guys, and they're all great, but, people like Martin Logan that have giant electrostatic speakers, these giant panels. If you're running a small center channel, go into your AVR setting, turn that channel off, and use what I call a phantom center. That means you have to toe in your front left and right speaker just a little bit, so you can't. It's harder to do within walls, impossible to do within walls. But if you're using towers or bookshelves, get rid of that little piece of crap, toe in the bigger speakers, and you'll hear everything. You'll hear dialogue, You'll hear the voices will sound the way they're supposed to. Everything's going to line up, but stop focusing on subwoofers and towers and neglecting that center speaker. If I hook up a Rel 1003 to that little 4.25-inch driver center speaker and then go into your receiver and set that center channel to large, you'd swear to God you had a tower there, because there's that much low frequency information being pushed to that center channel. But it's the most neglected out of every speaker in there because it's the little thing that sits on the tabletop. But I got these 10-foot tall towers. So that's what I'm saying.
Say hello to my little speaker.
Exactly. Yeah. So number 6 is stop neglecting that center channel.
Okay, number 7.
It's the most important one on there. I don't care what you're pointing at. I can't see it. So no. See what I did there? Number 7, stop shopping for room correction. Correct the room first. Do not ignore room acoustics. It's the cheapest, most important tool you have. No, you don't have to go buy expensive $300 acoustic panels a piece, acoustic panels from all these awesome vendors. You can go to Amazon and get these sticky panels that stick on the wall, and it sounds phenomenal. It really does. It works. And it's bad for business to say that, but it does work. I would rather you do that.
Sticky panels.
Yes. No, it's basically in a sticky, what's on that back door right there. It's a sticky acoustic panel that has the adhesive that just sticks to the wall. And they work great. And you know what? It works better than nothing. It works better than not having anything. I have heard incredibly high-end systems that had the best room correction technology in the world that sound like a hammered outhouse. It sounds like garbage, and there's nothing I can do about it. Fix the room. Stop trying to use AI and room correction technology to fix your crappy room. It's fix the room dynamic, because that will make even a cheap audio. You can go get a Bose audio system and make it sound halfway decent if you have the proper room acoustics. It's just the rule.
Here's a question then.
I thought we were running low on time. That you weren't going to ask what. What do you got?
What I was going to ask is the size of the room important? I mean, I know you can have a huge room and call it a cinema with lots and lots and lots of seats in it, but when you're talking about when you're down to a size of building a room in a house, or like we talked about outside in an outhouse building, garage, what kind of aspect ratio of room are we thinking about?
So that's a hard one, because most people aren't going to build the room differently, but you can build a compelling cinema in a 12 by 12 room. I've done it. I mean, we have it. If you want to demonstrate it, go for it. I mean, that's the thing. The size of the room size does matter. Yeah, no. So the size of the room matters. The shape of the room completely matters. Yep, absolutely. The more rectangular shape your room, the easier it is to manipulate. The more square it is, the harder it is to manipulate. Because
so the rectangle. I mean, like look at a screen. A standard screen is 4:3 rectangle, and a wide screen is 16:9. So, what kind of aspect ratio do you look at for the size of a room if it's rectangular?
Depends on what's my wall width. What's the width of the wall? I mean, there's a lot of dynamics there, but typically you don't. There's 2 factors that go into that. One is seating distance. One is ceiling height. One is the width of your front wall. If I had it my way, if the wall was the perfect size, I don't want to see anything but screen in front of me.
How much money you want to spend?
Oh, here we go again. Yeah, no. What I would say, I don't want to see anything but screen. I want my wall as dark as possible. I want my ceiling as dark as possible. I want my reflectivity, everything in the room that can reflect, as dark as possible. That way, all I see is my projection screen. Like when you go into our Beast, what we call the Beast Cinema, all you see is the screen. When the lights are off, you can't even see your seat that you're sitting in.
I am aware of that.
Yeah. No, you just, and that's the thing is you want it as big as, I like to go with a bigger screen. However, it depends on seating distance, because if you go too big and you're sitting too close, you have this tennis match effect.
Yep.
Where you can't get everything in your scope, your peripheral vision, and you're actually using peripheral to try to digest information that's on your screen. And then it becomes distracting and you don't enjoy the movie unless you move the chairs back. So there is a delicate balance, and that really is more room size dependent than anything. But it's very crucial and very important. Like some of these things, the pictures of these cinemas you see, the screen goes all the way down to the floor. Well, that's great unless you have an ottoman or a recliner, because then your feet are cutting off 20% of your screen that's down below. Well, unless you have black bars, there's that too. But
if you're going down to that, I mean, let's say we're sat on these chairs here, which might be equivalent to what we would have in a
right.
theatre room. So our eyesight is at what, 4 feet?
Correct. You want your viewing eyesight to be
2/3 down from the top of the screen.
Yep.
So if you're going from 4 feet down, you're talking about a 12-foot high screen.
Correct. But I wouldn't do a 12-foot high screen.
No.
So, but what you want to do is your vision, you want, just like with televisions and mounting televisions, when you're sitting, and this also is furniture dependent as well. So there's a lot of cool geometry that goes into that. It depends on, all right, what am I sitting on? Where does my butt hit the seat, which is usually 22 to 27 inches? Where is my headrest, which is usually 34 to 48 inches, depending on how tall your sitting is, unless you're doing a crunch like in the couch we're sitting in now. But there's a lot of form factors that manipulate that equation. And all of those are phenomenal questions and are important questions when designing a room. For sure.
Even at the basic level, it begs the question, why do people put TVs up over fireplaces? Why do builders build houses?
That's more of an interior designer thing.
The only place you can put a TV. So when you're sitting in your recliner, you're having to lean right back. I mean, that just doesn't.
Well, that is because when the builder puts a fireplace in the room, it's typically the center. It's the focal point of the room, unless it's your room. Well, you don't have a fireplace.
Yes, I do. Downstairs,
it's on the far right.
But it's in the corner.
But it's right, and so is his. So is Byron's. Byron's is in the corner too. In most cases, they'll make the fireplace the focal point of the room. I lived in a house not too long ago where same thing, 25-foot ceilings. It had a giant alcove on the left, giant alcove on the right, and it was pre-wired for a TV right over the fireplace. But my mantle was at minimum 10 feet in the air. I could barely see on top of the mantle. It's just like, that was stupid. That means the middle of my TV is going to be 15 feet in the air. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense, but that's crucial.
And
so
hence these mounts that drop down, have a TV on, and
the mantle mount. Yeah.
And drop down.
And they work great.
Yeah.
But it's
a means to an end, but it shouldn't need to be done in the first place.
No, not at all.
So that's another thing I'm thinking, is if I make that room upstairs a media room, in as much as it's got speakers and audio and video that I can use it for media, then I could think about actually getting rid of the TV in the living room and make the living room more of a space.
Conversational room.
You can't use the space because the seating's arranged to look at the TV.
Right.
It could be made better use of.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's a couple of form factors in there where we can improve that for sure. And a lot of people are doing that. And what's fun about some of these newer builders are they're actually putting the theater rooms downstairs now. I freaking love that idea. If I could design my perfect house, my theater room would be downstairs.
It would only be a single-story house.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying.
What the problem is with that around here is you got in the city, you got to have land, and we just don't. So those houses are more in the rural areas where, again, when you rural, you don't have as many attractions that's close distance like in the city.
Well,
so you tend to spend more time in that theater room entertaining yourself.
Well, or in Texas where there's literally nothing to do. It's miserable outside. I'm not going to go sit outside and watch a TV because it's a billion degrees outside. It's flat as heck. There's nothing to do unless you want to go eat or drink or whatever. That's it. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And that's why media rooms are popular here. But if you go to Colorado, they're not. If you go up to the mountains, they're not. But you know what is popular? Two channel audio is popular up there. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, because they love music. And to me, take that scenario around. If you made that room more of a communal room, then you could put a nice set of speakers down there and a turntable and just, have fun and do this. And Byron's laughing because, here he goes. He talking about more speakers. Yeah, no, that was good.
I refuse.
That Byron that was a good impression.
That was
a good impression. See, I'm working on it. Oh, there he goes. He talking. There's Dustin wants me to get another subwoofer right there.
I refuse to play music in my theater.
He's telling Ian to buy tower speakers. See how he does that? He makes it easy.
You want to be careful. You're going to turn into him.
That's true. No, I wish I could be as tall as he is and be allowed to have a motorcycle. My grandma used to call it motorcycles. But okay, so where are we at? Rule number 9? Is that where we at? Or are we at
7,
10?
8, 9.
Yeah, so we're at 9. So
Are you making rules up as we go along?
No. So we're at rule number 9. What I would say, so we talked about not neglecting the center channel. We talked about room acoustics was number 8. And then number 9 is...
How many of these we have?
10.
No, at the end of the day, there's only 2 rules. Rule number 1, Justin is always right. Rule number 2 is...
Rule number 10.
No, rule number 2 is when he's wrong, rule number 1 applies.
Yes, apply rule number 1. No, so rule number 9 is it doesn't... No matter what speakers you pick, match the series. Don't go expensive in the front for left, center, right, and go crap for Atmos and sides and surrounds. And the reason why, and I know we're running short on time and I won't shut up, but I'm going to get through this so we can talk about something else but home theater next week. So if you're going to buy JBL Studio, then buy all JBL Studio. If you're going to buy Synthesis, buy all Synthesis. If you're going to buy Paradigm, buy all Paradigm of the same set. Don't buy... The most common mistake I see on these forums is someone will say, "Oh, go to Best Buy. They've got like 4-inch ceiling speakers for like $400, man. Yeah, you could throw them in an Atmos. Nobody gives a crap because it's gunshots and glass and all that bullshit." No, seriously, I'll say it. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Where's the beep? I'll say it again. Bull. All right, there we go. Now we're back to normal. So, but I'll say that because if I buy a speaker that sounds like this, and then I have a speaker that sounds like this, and then I buy a speaker that sounds like this again, and then it goes back to this, it's distracting because it doesn't sound the same.
I can understand that. Buy all the same brand because I assume they're all kind of tuned to each other. They develop.
They're timber match.
Yeah, they're
timber
in the
match.
same. I mean,
That goes back to a paper cone speaker versus a carbon fiber speaker. It takes more power to move a carbon fiber speaker than it does a paper cone speaker. In turn, you're going to get different sounds.
Right. No, exactly. It's going to sound different. Or you have a horn tweeter or a standard dome tweeter. Or you have a silk dome and you have an aluminum. Or you have whatever. So what I'm saying is, whatever you're going to put in there, match it if you can. My other thing is if somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to upgrade my surround speakers." Great. Are you happy with your front soundstage? Well, yeah, cool. Then let's just match it and that's what we'll put up there. If you're not happy with your front soundstage, Ian, if I'm going to cut a 10-inch hole in my ceiling, make it worth cutting the hole.
Yep.
Don't cut a big freaking hole in your ceiling and to put a cheap speaker in it so you can have Atmos. No, just make it worth cutting the hole. So, because it's never moving. When you leave that house, you're not going to take that speaker with you. Now Byron might, but you're not going to take that speaker with you.
Actually, I'm repurposing speakers.
That's true. No, so here's the fun thing about what Byron's doing. So he wants to add 4 atmospheric channels. Well, Steve Bridges, the guy, I love Steve, the one that added speakers in his poker room and his game room, used Paradigm 8-inch speakers that match what's in his cinema right now. Cool. We'll throw some El Cheapos in the rooms he doesn't use. Take the nice $800 a piece speakers, and we'll put them in his media room because it matches. It timber matches. So if you're gonna put speakers in your room, timber match them. If you're gonna add speakers and you don't like your front speakers and you're going to change
everything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not that. No, but just future plan it. If you know you're going to do Bowers or Focal or Martin Logan or Totem or JBL or whatever you're going to do, screw Focal. You don't want that. It's crap. They're not crap. I just don't like them. Anyway, there's a story behind that. Forget it. But I digress. If you're going to move in a progressive direction and you're adding modifications to your room, blueprint it and what I call flight plan it. Find where you want to land, and the additions, add those additions in the direction your plane's moving. Because if you know that you're going to sell your front channels in 5 months or so, or trade them out or give them to your kid or whatever, and you're going to upgrade, then match whatever is what I call a permanent installation, meaning in-wall in-ceiling, to whatever you're eventually going to do. Even if it's a little bit more expensive, well, there he goes. He ain't going to tell you to spend more money. No.
He will get it out of you. Say hello to my little friend.
See, it's not bad. It's not a bad impression, right?
Oh, was that him or you?
So, hey, I'm trying to get more fans, right? So at the end of the day, if you're going to do that, have a flight plan of where you want to go. Because what I don't want you to do, I don't want any client to do if they're hiring us for a service, I don't want to do it twice. Don't pay me to do it twice. Let's do it right the second or third or however many times we're going to go in. And then rule number 10, you're going to have to wait until next week. And the reason why I say you're going to have to wait till next week is because I always love leaving on a cliffhanger. So that's what
we love to be hanging off of your cliff.
Cliffhanger.
Or be thrown off of a cliff. So we'll say hey to Ray. We'll see how Ray, if he even listens to the episode, weighs in on my 10 theater roles. He'll have to kind of weigh into that. But it's good seeing you. So massive shout out to Byron's fan club, Ron and Lena. And Ray's fan club and Ian's fan club now.
Say hello to my little friends.
Hey, the only reason I got you liked is because I introduced you as Byron.
And I gave her a t-shirt.
That's true. And she got a t-shirt, but now she wants to know where her coffee cup is. Also, shout out to Lyle and Jeannie Schaefer. Just heard from Jeannie not too long ago. So they were actually the OG original fans. So, but shout out to everybody. 1,800 listeners. Can't be wrong. Technology rocks. We'll see you in a bit.
Bye.
Later. Oh, that wasn't me. That was Byron. You got to do it.
That was the
Say hello to my little friends.